My wife thought I didn't understand Greek, so together with her male assistant, they used Greek to mock me right in my face, calling me a useless person, a toad who wasn't worthy of her. They even discussed, and the interesting things they experienced at the Wilton last night. But none of this matters anymore. Anyway, I am about to leave this detestable world. System, I request to leave this world. Originally, after completing the mission, I refused to leave this world, solely because of Shen Qingying, whom I had successfully conquered. She loved me to death, but now, her heart belongs to someone else, so I choose to leave, to disappear completely from her world. The system gave me 1 month to settle my affairs. On our 5th wedding anniversary, I waited from day until late at night in this vast house. Only on the table was our 5th anniversary cake, emitting a faint light. Then I quietly walked over and blew out the candles, and at that very moment, Shen Qingying pushed open the door and entered. Seeing the living room lights were off, and I was sitting alone on the sofa. Shen Qingying thought I was angry. Her expression was panicked. She hurriedly put down the things in her hands and came over to hug me tightly. She was just like when we were in love, coaxing me with utmost tenderness. Ahua, it's my fault. I came back late from a business trip. If you're angry, just scold me, okay? I bought you a lot of gifts. After that, her assistants carried the gifts and came in one by one from outside. There were all kinds of expensive designer watches, keys to limited edition sports cars. These 8-figure gifts were just to please me, but I just looked at her quietly, gazing intently at the person I had loved for nearly 10 years. I don't belong to this world. 10 years ago, the system brought me to this world. My mission was to conquer the proud daughter of heaven, Shen Qingying. Shen Qingying was unrestrained and rebellious, free and uninhibited, but in reality, she had lost both her parents early on. Her inner loneliness was just like mine, a person from another world. I approached her step by step, went through the years of our youth with her, went with her from the schoolyard to the wedding hall. Gradually, we became each other's one and only. After completing the conquest mission, she said she loved me as much as her own life, and I too couldn't bear to leave her. So, I refused to leave the world, choosing to stay by her side. But now I still have to leave. After the assistants put down the gifts, they also did their best to speak well of their boss. Sir, President Shen loves you, so much that the whole city knows. President Shen went on a business trip abroad and was always thinking of you to make it back in time to celebrate the Prada's anniversary with you. She worked without sleep or rest, cramming 7 days of work into 3. After finishing, she rushed back right after getting off the plane. Shen Qingying held my arm, nervously observing my reaction. Yes, Shen Qingying loved me so much the whole city knew. For my birthday celebration, she would fly back from Florence overnight to set off fireworks for me, to take care of me when I was sick. She would neglect her work, staying up all night to care for me. She loved me that much. But why did she suddenly change like this? My gaze grew darker and darker after the assistants left. Shen Qingying held me and comforted me for a long time. That careful gesture, it was as if she were holding the most precious treasure in the world. Ahua, I was wrong. Next year's anniversary, I will definitely be with you all day. I looked at her for a long time and finally spoke. I am not angry. I am just a little tired. After Shen Qingying heard that, she immediately pulled me into the room. Then ill rest with you. It was late and tired from the trip. Shen Qingying quickly fell asleep while hugging me, but I couldn't fall asleep. I waited until I heard her steady breathing. Before I gently sat up, I took Shen Qingying's phone from the bedside table and opened her messages. The top contact was still Jiang Nuo, one of the secretaries in Shen Qingying's presidential office, and now they had many new messages. For every day, she was on a business trip abroad. For every day, she used the excuse of being busy to not contact me. She had a lot of messages with Jiang Nuo. They went abroad together, sightseeing together every day, are going to concerts together. It was because Jiang Nuo wanted to go to a concert that Shen Qingying booked the last flight back and missed our wedding anniversary. Scrolling to the end, I saw Jiang Nuo's expectant and anxious question. Will you always be this good to me? I will. Looking at these conversations, I no longer felt that heart-wrenching pain like the first time I found out. My heart seemed to have become numb from the pain. Early the next morning, because I went to bed very late, I woke up a bit late. After going downstairs, I saw Shen Qingying making breakfast. I stood behind her, watching her figure, and unconsciously recalled the time I wanted to learn to cook. I accidentally burned my hand once. When Shen Qingying saw it, her eyes turned red. She applied medicine for me with a pained expression and said that cooking was a woman's job. From now on, leave the cooking to me. You're not allowed to come near. Got it? She could meticulously learn to cook for me. She could also get angry for me, and she could also whisper in my ear every day. Countless sweet nothings. Back then, even her group of friends often teased her for being lovesick. Shen Qingying wouldn't get angry and would even proudly add that she was only lovesick for Lu Hua alone. Remembering the past, I stood there in a daze. Shen Qingying turned around and saw me. A smile unconsciously appeared in her eyes. You're awake? What are you dazed about? Come and have breakfast. I looked at her quietly and shook my head. I was thinking that on our anniversary yesterday, you didn't get to make a wish. Shen Qingying smiled and brought the fried egg she had made in front of me. It's fine. we can make a wish next year. Hua. We still have a long future ahead of us. I lowered my eyes. The rims of my eyes gradually turned red, silently poking the egg on my plate with my fork and knife. Do you know, Shen Qingying, we don't have a future anymore, I said silently in my heart. After breakfast, Shen Qingying grabbed her coat, ready to go out. I called her back. Today is the weekend. Do you have to go to the company too? She opened the door naturally and said, there's some company business to take care of. As I was speaking, all the message I saw yesterday appeared in my mind. Jiang Nuo said, I heard Autumn Wind Valley is fun. How about we go together tomorrow? Shen Qingying naturally agreed, and even sent a hugging sticker. I remained silent. Shen Qingying seemed to notice the change in my mood, and hurried over to hug me tightly. What's wrong? Are you unhappy? I looked up. It's nothing. I want to go to Autumn Wind Valley with you for a few days. I heard the scenery there is beautiful. Upon hearing the name of this place, the smile on her face froze for a moment, but only for an instant. Then, she casually caressed my cheek. There are a lot of tourists there recently. Besides, the wind in the valley is very strong. It's not good for your health. If you want to go out, next time I'll pick a few places and go with you. I listened to her lies, trying hard to find a trace of guilt in her eyes, but there was none. She told these lies to placate me, yet she didn't show the slightest bit of guilt, as if she were truly worried about my health. My heart throbbed with a sharp pain. I forced a smile with difficulty. But I really want to go. Can you go with me today? As expected, Shen Qingying hesitated. Before, I was always her top priority. But now, in just a few seconds, she said with a look of reluctance, the company really has urgent business today. Can I go with you next time? After saying that, she added a few more comforting words and then quickly left. Looking at her retreating back, I felt a cold patch on my face. I raised my hand to touch it, only to realize I had started crying at some point. The system gave me 1 month to bid farewell to this world, but instead of calling it a farewell, it was more like giving me time to settle my affairs, and the first thing I needed to do was cancel my household registration. A month later, both my body and soul will disappear, but that's still not enough. I don't want to leave anything related to me behind, not even a single piece of paper. I want to erase all my identities in this world. All information must be completely wiped, so that Lu Hua no longer exists in this world, and Shen Qingying won't be able to find Lu Hua either. I went to the registration office. The staff was surprised to see someone so young coming to cancel their household registration. Very surprised. Young man, have you thought this through? After canceling your registration, it's as if this person no longer exists. I lifted my head slightly. My eyes were empty. I knew the staff didn't expect me to be so calm, and was about to try persuading me again, but I gently interrupted. I smiled gently at the staff member. It's all right. Very soon, there won't be a person like me in this world anymore. So, it'll have to trouble you. I didn't go home right away. I wandered around aimlessly. I don't know when. I had walked to the high school that Shen Qingying and I attended. I hesitated for a long time at the school gate, but finally walked in. The school was full of memories of Shen Qingying and me, studying together, eating together, holding hands when no one was around, sharing our first kiss. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman with glasses walked over. It was our high school homeroom teacher. The homeroom teacher had a very deep impression of me because of my and Shen Qingying's puppy love. Everyone knew about it back then. Now, things have changed. Seeing me, the homeroom teacher also laughed and sighed. You and Shen Qingying really worried me to death that year. I punished you both by making you run 10 kilometers, but you were more stubborn than anyone. You even said you'd die together even if the world collapsed. I couldn't help but recall the past. I forced a smile. I walked into our old classroom, and following my memory, went to the seat where Shen Qingying used to sit, on the desk. I immediately saw the words carved on it. Lu Hua belongs to Shen Qingying. The her of back then was so arrogant and ostentatious. She wished the whole world knew she liked Lu Hua. I rubbed it with my hand again and again, suddenly feeling a bit dazed. It was as if I could see again the young girl whose heart and eyes held only me. As I was leaving, the homeroom teacher called me back and gave me 2 letters. Lu Hua, these are letters from before you graduated. I had you write them to yourselves 10 years later. Everyone else has already picked theirs up. Only yours and Shen Qingying's are left. I said thank you and took the letters. On the way, I opened Shen Qingying's letter. The girl's bold handwriting appeared before my eyes. To the Shen Qingying of 10 years later. To 7-year-old Shen Qingying. May I ask, have you married the boy you love yet? If Lu Hua has become your husband, then you must remember the following things. You must have a grand wedding, to let the whole world know he is your man. You must be with him every day. A Hua will be very lonely by himself. You must make him happy every day. Never make him sad. You must love him. You must love him forever. This was almost a love letter that Shen Qingying wrote to herself. My hand holding the letter trembled more and more, seeing the unconcealable love between the lines. Tears had fallen without me realizing. It turns out we once loved each other so much, but why has her heart changed now? Wouldn't it be good to just love each other, like when we were young? The future was clearly a foreseeable happiness. You clearly said you couldn't be without me, that you couldn't live without me. That's why I gave up everything, to stay in this unfamiliar world for you. The vows of the past, the pure and passionate love, have now turned into knives. stabbing straight into my heart. I suddenly really wanted to meet that Jiang Nuo, the person who made my Shen Qingying turn into what she is now, Jiang Nuo. I still went. At Autumn Wind Valley, standing in a hidden spot, I immediately saw Shen Qingying sitting in a restaurant. Opposite her was a man, very handsome and young. Is that Jiang Nuo? I saw Shen Qingying pour water for him and feed him steak. Occasionally, they would look at each other and smile. They came out from inside, holding a wishing slip in their hands, and they walked to the wishing tree outside the restaurant. I watched helplessly as the two of them hung up their wish. I waited until they had left, and there was no one else outside, before I walked over and quietly took down their wish. I wished to be with the person beside me for a long time, and never be apart. The handwriting on the wishing slip was elegant. It wasn't hard to tell it was written by Jiang Nuo. As for the line below, it was etched into my bones. It was Shen Qingying's. She only wrote 2 words, same wish. In that moment, I clenched the slip of paper and suddenly burst out laughing, a laugh filled with boundless bitterness and despair. I stared for a long time, before standing on my tiptoes and hanging their wish back in its original place. My eyes stung, but it seemed I couldn't shed a single tear. Oh, Shen Qingying, why didn't I realize before that your acting was so good, you could love me so much, while also wishing for a long future with someone else? It doesn't matter. Just wait a little longer. Just wait a little longer. You won't have to act anymore. I went home alone. Shen Qingying still hadn't returned. She didn't call until late at night, saying she was busy with company work, so she would sleep at the office. Be good. Aha. Wait for me to come back. I'll bring you a gift. I sat in the living room with a numb expression. I didn't ask anything. I just quietly hung up during the time she wasn't here. I started taking the things that belonged to me in this house and burning them bit by bit. A few days later, Shen Qingying finally came home. As soon as she entered the door, she noticed something strange. She stood in the living room, and after looking around, couldn't help but ask, why does the house seem so much emptier? My voice was calm. I just threw away some unimportant things. Seeing me say that, she didn't pay much mind. She raised her hands to hug my waist like before, and lifted her head wanting a kiss, but I turned my head to avoid it. Shen Qingying froze, vaguely sensing that something was wrong with me. Are you unhappy? Is it because I wasn't home these past few days? The company is negotiating a transnational project. It's really busy. I used to have a very cheerful and open personality. I always liked to hug her, to be intimate with her. But for the past 2 years, how long has it been since I last initiated intimacy with her? Even Shen Qingying must have forgotten, right? I don't know why. A sense of panic suddenly rose in her heart. She tightened her arms around my waist again, as if she were afraid of losing me. Ahua, I am sorry. I've been too busy recently, and couldn't be with you much. How about I take you to a movie? I wondered how she had so much energy, having to deal with others outside, and then coming home to deal with my pestering for hours, but I didn't say anything. So Shen Qingying took it as my agreement, and immediately grabbed the car keys to take me out. Before, when we went out on dates, I was always very happy. Now I sat in the passenger seat, with only numbness on my face, watching the scenery fly by outside the window. I even had the urge to jump out. I hadn't done anything yet, when a car ahead suddenly lost control and rushed towards us. Shen Qingying's expression changed instantly. She almost reflexively threw herself in front of me, shielding me tightly behind her. A loud crash. The 2 cars collided violently. My head was buzzing. Before I could react, the next second, I felt sticky blood flowing down my face. It was Shen Qingying. My pupils contracted. I stared without blinking at the blood-covered woman in front of me. Hua, don't be afraid. She tremblingly reached out her hand to grab mine, but the next second, fresh blood gushed out, and she completely passed out. In the hospital emergency room, I sat in the hallway. My mind was filled with the image of Shen Qingying disregarding everything to rush towards me. I don't understand why, at this point, she would still risk her life to save me. I don't know how long it had been. In the light of the emergency room suddenly went out. A masked doctor came out from inside and couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. The surgery was a success, but we still need to see if she can get through the critical period. If she can wake up in 3 days, she'll survive. If she doesn't wake up in 3 days, he paused, his voice full of emotion. In such a serious car accident, she was so severely injured, yet you're completely unharmed. Your wife was literally protecting you with her life. I remained silent, looking at the person being wheeled out of the operating room. Shen Qingying with her pale face, an intense feeling of bitterness welled up in my heart. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Protecting me with her life. Yes, back then, it was because this woman loved me as much as her life that I stayed for her, wanting to be with her for a lifetime. But what about now? Shen Qingying, wouldn't it be better if I died? If I died, you could be with Jiang Nuo forever. Why would you rather give up your life to save me? Is it because you feel guilty? Or do you want to use this to beg for my forgiveness later? But I won't forgive you. Shen Qingying, I will never forgive you again. After that, Shen Qingying remained in a coma. 3 days later, she finally woke up. At that time, I was at home, making soup for her. I simmered bone broth for several hours. Then I ladled it out and brought it to the hospital. Before I even entered the hospital room, I heard a loud noise from inside. It was Shen Qingying smashing things. She was refusing treatment. The assistant stood trembling outside the door, All of them were helpless until they saw me arrive. They looked as if they had seen their savior. You're finally here. I don't know what's wrong with President Shen. You left your phone in the hospital room. Half an hour ago, someone called you. After President Shen answered the call, she immediately flew into a rage. I looked over. I only saw that the hospital room was a complete mess, and Shen Qingying, hearing the noise from inside the room, immediately turned around. The moment she saw me, her eyes were bloodshot. The next second, she pulled out her eye needle and rushed towards me. She grabbed my hand tightly. Her face showed endless panic. Her voice was trembling. She said, word by word, "Ahua, what do you mean you want to cancel your household registration? Where are you planning to go?" My hands clenched slightly. I figured it must have been the staff who called. I answered expressionlessly, "I am not going anywhere. You misunderstood. It's just that my household registration is still at the orphanage. I just want to move it out to get a new one." Hearing that, Shen Qingying's emotions finally stabilized a little, but she still asked uneasily, "Why didn't you tell me? I could have arranged for someone to do it for you." My expression remained calm, just like when she lied to me. "But you're so busy. I didn't want to bother you. Besides, it's not a big deal. I can do it myself." As soon as I said that, she finally relaxed and hugged me tightly. "Wah, no matter when, as long as it concerns you, it's never a bother for me. Promise me you won't leave me. Otherwise, I'll die." I let her hug me. I remembered the car accident again, the figure who shielded me without hesitation. I lowered my eyes, hiding all my emotions. I gently pushed her away. I opened the container of soup I had stewed for her. Where could I possibly go? Hurry up and drink the soup. Shen Qingying regained her composure. She went back to her bed. Perhaps she was traumatized. She held my hand for the rest of the day, making me stay in the hospital room with her, not allowing me to go anywhere. I obediently stayed with her. "Ahua, you'll be with me forever, right?" I looked at her stubborn gaze. My heart ached again. She was clearly the one who broke her promise first. How could she still be so righteous, demanding that I never leave her? I forced a smile. Shen Qingying finally felt at ease. Gradually, it grew dark. I kept watch by her bedside until she fell asleep. In the quiet hospital room. In the room, I opened Shen Qingying's phone again. People are sometimes like that. You know, seeing certain things will hurt, but you just can't ignore them. It's like self-torture. Or perhaps, I use this method to constantly remind myself not to have any more illusions. This time, I opened Shen Qingying's private album. Before, she only had one private album on her phone. It was filled with pictures of me. She always loved capturing candid moments, whether she was on a business trip or at the company, as long as she couldn't see me. This album was her charging station. She could always look at it countless times a day. Back then, everyone said she only had eyes for Lu Hua, but now, she had another private album on her phone. After clicking on it, what I saw was all pictures of Jiang Nuo. I calmly scrolled through them one by one. There were pictures of them cooking together, pictures of them out for a walk, pictures of them hugging. Finally, my gaze stopped on one photo. In the photo, Jiang Nuo had his arm around her waist, kissing her passionately under the fireworks. I just stared at it for a long time. I suddenly remembered our school days. There were also boys who pursued Shen Qingying, wanting to take pictures with her. Back then, Shen Qingying never had eyes for anyone but me. She would refuse decisively. I only take pictures with the person I like. But now, another man on her phone had an entire album to himself. I quietly looked at the woman on the bed. During the day, she said she would die without me. So what is this now? In the dead of night, when all was still, I just stared blankly for a long time, until a phone suddenly vibrated in the room. I came back to my senses. I thought it was a message on Shen Qingying's phone, but her phone was silent. My phone had received a new message. I opened it to look. A phone number I knew by heart had sent a sentence. "Lu Hua, I know you found out this unfamiliar number. I had seen it countless times on Shen Qingying's phone. It's Jiang Nuo. He finally couldn't sit still anymore. Does he want to provoke the legal husband?" Then a few more messages came. "I saw you outside the restaurant last time. How pathetic, clinging to a woman who no longer loves you. Maybe Qing Rong once loved you very much, but now, she only has eyes for me." Jiang Nuo probably thought I would break down after seeing this, that I would lose my mind, but I just watched quietly. I didn't even have the strength to break down anymore. My love for Shen Qingying was once a raging fire, but since I discovered her affair, that fire has long been dwindling. It's almost extinguished, perhaps seeing that I had no reaction. Jiang Nuo secretly sent me messages a few more times after that. I never replied. Once, a week later, Shen Qingying was finally discharged from the hospital. When we got home, Shen Qingying hugged me and refused to let go. "You must be tired from taking care of me during this time. Honey, you must be tired." I shook my head. "You saved me. I should be the one thanking you." There was actually nothing wrong with that sentence. It's just that for two people who were once deeply in love, saying the word thank you seemed very awkward. I don't know if Shen Qingying noticed my distance. Her brows furrowed slightly. "Why?" "For you, I am willing to die." I immediately covered her mouth with my hand. I thought to myself, how could you die? Qing Rong, you have to live. Live well. In a world without me. Live well. And be tormented. And regret it. And blame yourself for the rest of your life. Shen Qingying finally smiled. She took my palm and kissed it. "Your birthday is coming up during this time in the hospital. I've thought of many surprises for you. Every year, she would prepare a grand celebration for my birthday. This time was no exception. 3 days later was my birthday. At the city's highest observation deck, Shen Qingying celebrated my birthday for me. A waiter pushed over an exquisite cake. "Sir, this is the cake President Shen made for you herself." Shen Qingying smiled and poured me some red wine. Everything was so perfect. She was so thoughtful. Her feelings were so deep. If the other things had never happened, I would have been moved beyond words. But at this moment, I didn't even know what expression to wear. I knew that perhaps Shen Qingying still loved me. She just couldn't only love me anymore. "Hua, happy 27th birthday. Do you have a birthday wish?" she asked from the other end of the long table. I was silent for a few seconds. Then I said slowly, "I hope that in the days to come, I can be open and happy, my heart facing the light. If it were the me from before, I might have wished to grow old with her, to be forever united in heart. But now, my wish is only about me. There's no us anymore." Shen Qingying didn't seem to notice. She just looked at me gently. "I will always make you happy." This birthday, she had indeed prepared meticulously. Until the two of us finished celebrating and were about to leave, she received a phone call. Seeing the caller's name, she unconsciously turned away. After answering the call, she suddenly said to me, "Ahua, something urgent came up at the company. You go home first. I'll be back soon." After saying that, she hurriedly drove away. I watched her disappearing figure, but I didn't obediently go home. Instead, I called a taxi. "Driver, follow that car in front." As expected, Shen Qingying headed and drive towards the company, but stopped outside a high-end apartment complex. Jiang Nuo was standing by the road. After Shen Qingying got out of the car, he immediately threw himself into her arms. From a distance, I saw the gentle expression she had when looking at Jiang Nuo was exactly the same as when she looked at me a second ago. The person who was putting all her heart into celebrating my birthday. The next second, she rushed off to meet another man. My heart tightened. Even my spine went numb. I watched helplessly as the two of them on the roadside kissed as if no one was around. Her kiss was so passionate, as if she wanted to merge into one with the other person. Anyone could see the love, until Shen Qingying couldn't wait any longer and took Jiang Nuo's arm, and quickly walked into the apartment complex. I let out an extremely slow laugh. Then, I quietly walked away, walking, alone in the night. At this moment, I was like a soulless corpse, wandering alone in the endless dark night. A heavy rain poured down, drenching my entire body. I wandered in the rain, trying to wash away the recent memory. I thought I wouldn't feel pain anymore, but Shen Qingying could always make me hurt again and again. I walked in the rain for the whole night, until early the next morning. The sky cleared. My face was as pale as paper. My eyes, once sparkling like the stars, were now covered in a layer of ash. I don't know how I got home. It's just that when I pushed the door open, I saw Shen Qingying with a worried face. "Awa, you're finally back." But just before she hugged me, everything went dark before my eyes, and I finally staggered and fell. When I woke up, I was lying in my bedroom. Shen Qingying was holding my hand tightly. The doctor had already come to the house to examine me. "President Shen, he just caught a cold from being in the rain. There's nothing else wrong." There were clear bloodshot veins under Shen Qingying's eyes. She thought I fainted because of some illness. She hugged me tightly. "You scared me to death. From now on, you're not allowed to stay out all night." Lu Hua could feel the trembling and warmth from her body, but his heart was a piece of ice. This Shen Qingying before me, and the person who kissed Jiang Nuo last night, could actually be the same person. I let her hug me, without saying a word. This time, my sudden disappearance and sudden fainting spell had probably really scared Shen Qingying. She didn't leave my side for a moment, afraid that something unexpected would happen again. It's just that I always look listless, but the medical checkup found nothing wrong. During this period, Shen Qingying was always by my side. Perhaps this finally displeased Jiang Nuo. One night, I woke up drowsily and found no one beside me. The light on the balcony was on. I walked over and found Shen Qingying on the phone. "It'll be good to you next month, okay?" She was coaxing someone. Her voice was very low, both helpless and doting. "Don't be naughty. Next business trip, it'll take you to see the cherry blossoms and soak in the hot springs. Isn't that what you like the most?" It turns out she could also remember Jiang Nuo's preferences. I suddenly recalled when we first got married. We went to Japan for our honeymoon. She also watched cherry blossoms and soaked in hot springs with me. She also used to call and coax me in the middle of the night when I was unhappy. But now, only a door separated us. Yet it felt like we were separated by thousands of rivers and mountains. I don't know how long it had been. Shen Qingying's gentle voice came from inside. Again, "Nuo, I like you too." I couldn't listen anymore. I suddenly turned and lay back down on the bed. I closed my eyes, but the corners were still wet. Not long after, Shen Qingying finally came back. In the darkness, she couldn't see my pale face and reddened eyes. After saying, "I like you too," to another man, she calmly lay down next to me. But I wasn't sleepy at all anymore. I told myself over and over again, only 7 days left. The last 7 days. Shen Qingying, from now on, we will go our separate ways. We will never see each other again. After my health gradually improved, Shen Qingying went back to work at the company. She started coming home very late again, just like before, sometimes even staying out all night. And Jiang Nuo relying on Shen Qingying's affection for him, became more and more audacious. He started sending me all sorts of pictures every day. There were pictures of Shen Qingying watching movies with him, Shen Qingying personally cooking for him, Shen Qingying giving him 999 roses. So many. So many. So many that I couldn't help but think, if she had redone everything she once did with me, with Jiang Nuo all over again. I quietly looked through them every time, then saved them. My eyes were like a stagnant pool of water. The time of departure was getting closer. On the third day of the countdown, I printed out all these photos and wrote a caption on each one. June 11th, he sent a photo of them eating together. She once said she would only cook for me, but now she has given everything she once gave me to someone else. June 12th, they went to Fengming Temple to hang a love lock. She had forgotten that she once said, in this life, she would only be united in heart with me. June 13th, she said she had to work overtime, but he sent me a photo of her watching fireworks with him. Those fireworks were so beautiful. She once set them off for me too. June 14th, she went to watch the sunrise with him, and even called to tell me she was working overtime at the company. Actually, she didn't know. On the phone, I could also hear another man's laughter. A full 99 photos. After I finished writing, I put all these photos in a drawer, in a place where after I am completely gone, Shen Qingying could see them immediately. 3 days before leaving, I received a call from Shen Qingying. Honey, I have a social engagement tonight. I'll be home a little late. My heart was already numb. I calmly replied, got it. She coaxed me a few more times on the other end, then hung up. I sat at my desk, without getting up for a long time. It's okay. Shen Qingying, don't come home. You don't need to know either. I only have 3 days left in this world. 2 days before leaving, I called a moving company. During this time, I had already packed up all my belongings, including rings, the marriage certificate, and love tokens. I threw everything in there. I don't need any of these things anymore. Please take them to the dump to be incinerated. After all the things were moved out, I looked at the empty house and felt an inexplicable sense of relief. On the last day before leaving, I spent the whole day cooking a table full of food. At sunset, Shen Qingying came back. She smelled the aroma of food as soon as she entered. She was a little surprised. After coming closer and seeing me, the cuts and burns on my hands, her expression changed immediately. What happened? Didn't I tell you not to go into the kitchen? The heartache in her eyes didn't seem fake. The next second, she hurriedly pulled me to the sofa. Then she took out the first aid kit to apply medicine for me. Her careful movements were as if she was afraid I would shatter. Wah. Never let yourself get hurt again. When a knife cuts you, it hurts me more than it hurts you. I looked up and stared at her face. Her brows were tightly furrowed. It was as if she wished the wounds were on her own body, but it was also her who ruthlessly destroyed all my hopes for this marriage. After applying the medicine, Shen Qingying held my wounded hand and suddenly noticed something. Why aren't you wearing your wedding ring? That wedding ring had long been taken away by me to be burned. I said calmly, I accidentally lost it. The wedding ring, when we got married. Shen Qingying had spent a long time choosing it. When she put it on during the wedding ceremony, her hands were even trembling. But now that I said I lost it, she didn't seem to mind too much. She just said gently, it's okay. I'll buy you a new pair. I said nothing. Shen Qingying then carefully looked around and finally noticed the house seemed to be getting emptier. So empty that it felt a bit off. She looked at me. Did you throw away a lot of things? Why does the house feel so empty? I nodded honestly. I threw away all the things we bought when we got married. Shen Qingying thought I was doing something, cleaning the house, and didn't think much of it. She took out a card and gave it to me. It's good that you threw them away. Out with the old, in with the new. Go buy whatever you want. Hearing these words, I was stunned for a moment. Then I laughed. There were tears in my laughter as I mumbled and repeated, that's right. Out with the old, in with the new. I lowered my eyes trying to calm my emotions. Let's eat. Why were you in the mood to cook today? I replied to her. I wanted to have a proper meal with you. Today, I seemed a bit like my old self. I started being a little clingy with her again. For some reason, Shen Qingying was in a very good mood. Just as she was about to sit down, the phone in her pocket suddenly rang. After seeing the caller's name, her expression changed. She said it was a work call and went outside to answer it, but my expression didn't change at all. I knew it was Jiang Nuo calling, because before that, he had sent me a message. I know she's with you, believe it or not, with just one call from me. She will immediately come looking for me. Sure enough, Shen Qingying quickly returned. Her expression was a bit rushed. Ahua. Something urgent came up at the company. Wait for me. I'll be back soon. I didn't say anything. I just looked up at her. My gaze was both calm and gentle. I knew what she was going to do, but I didn't say a single word to stop her. From a month ago, the moment I decided to leave this world, I had already given up on holding on to her. Go on. Shen Qingying didn't think much of it. She kissed my cheek and nodded, but the next second, as Shen Qingying turned to leave, I suddenly called out to her again. Shen Qingying, just keep walking forward, don't look back. As soon as the words fell, Shen Qingying paused. She turned back and saw the faint smile on my face. A strange and panicked feeling flashed in her heart. She always felt that I was a bit strange today, but then she thought of the phone call just now and hurriedly left again, only leaving behind the words, honey, I'll be back with you soon. Shen Qingying was gone. I watched her back gradually disappear with my own eyes. until it was completely out of sight, and after she left, I immediately got up and threw away all the food. I even washed the dishes clean and put them away neatly. Standing in the middle of the living room, I stared at this house where I had lived for many years, the home that we had built bit by bit. It was no longer recognizable because I had really thrown away too many things. Things that are not needed should be thrown away. You shouldn't own something new. While being unwilling to let go of the old, I closed my eyes and summoned the system. System, take me home. The next second, the golden system interface popped up. Host departure process is about to start. The body will feel intense pain. Please be prepared. I laughed numbly. I am already prepared. No matter how much it hurts, it's not as painful as staying here. Soon, the golden light in front of my eyes began to flash. My body also felt a strange, numbing electric current. Then it gradually amplified until it was like an electric shock suddenly turned to its highest frequency. I was in so much pain that I was drenched in sweat. My whole body trembled, and I collapsed to the ground. The intense pain spread ceaselessly throughout my body. I don't know how long it had been. I felt a white light enveloping me. Immediately after, my whole body felt light. I could feel myself disappearing. My face showed anticipation and relief. Shen Qingying, I'm going home. You and I will never meet again. Shen Qingying was clearly not okay today. Jiang Nuo noticed it with just one glance. He peeled a grape, put the translucent fruit into his mouth, and then leaned over to offer it to her. He was young and handsome, with a youthful air about him. His lips carried the sweet fragrance of fruit juice, mixed with his citrus-scented men's cologne. It was the look Shen Qingying usually liked the most, but she was still distracted. The frown between her eyebrows deepened. She subconsciously turned her head away, avoiding his attempt to curry favor. On Jiang Nuo's originally handsome face, a strong sense of unwillingness appeared. He snorted coldly and sat back on the sofa. His voice was a bit sour as he said, "If you don't like it, then why are you still here? Who are you thinking about again?" But Shen Qingying didn't, as he expected, gently coax him. Instead, she glanced at him apologetically and hurriedly stood up. She grabbed her coat from the side and walked quickly to the door. "I have something urgent today. Nuo. See you next time." Jiang Nuo clenched his fists. His nails dug deep into his flesh, but he didn't seem to feel the pain. His resentful eyes stared at the door. It must be Lu Hua. Without even guessing, he knew that Shen Qingying was abandoning him for Lu Hua again. Jiang Nuo really couldn't understand. People always talk about the 7-year itch, but Shen Qingying and Lu Hua were about to have 2 7-year itches. Why did she still love him so much? He was younger than Lu Hua, stronger than Lu Hua, and even more handsome. If he just put in the effort, any woman would be attracted to him. She should have gotten tired of looking at Lu Hua after all these years. On what grounds? Was Shen Qingying's heart still tied to him? He couldn't figure it out. Ever since Shen Qingying left the house this morning, she had a vague feeling that something was wrong. When she got into the car, she made many calls to Lu Hua. Without exception, none of them went through. She had to call a subordinate and ask him to see if Lu Hua was at home. A vague sense of panic filled her heart. The assistant's residence was very close to Shen Qingying's house, so he didn't hang up. He ran upstairs while on the phone. Hearing the increasingly urgent knocking on the place, all this, any point, other end of the line, Shen Qingying floored the accelerator. She knew she was definitely speeding, racing back home. The assistant was still calling Lu Hua's name over and over. Shen Qingying pushed him aside, took the key from her bag, but her hands were trembling with tension. She couldn't get the key into the lock after several tries. With a click, the door opened. The house was empty. Shen Qingying was panting. The unease in her heart grew stronger. The assistant had never seen her in such a hurry. He quickly said, "Maybe he just went out." "President Shen, don't worry." "Shall do," Shen Qingying said dazedly. "Don't you think the house is too empty?" The assistant, surnamed Du, was stunned. He had been to Shen Qingying's house before to get documents. After hearing this, he looked around and indeed noticed how empty the house was. Shen Qingying didn't even bother to change her shoes. She rushed into the common room. The walk-in closet was more than half empty. Only her own clothes remained, and the outfits Lu Hua had prepared for her, hanging there all alone. In all the rooms, everything Lu Hua had ever brought had disappeared. It was as if a giant hand had mercilessly erased all traces of his existence. She frantically searched everywhere, trying to find some proof that Lu Hua was not a figment of her imagination, until she forcefully pulled open a drawer in the living room that was never used, and photos poured out like an avalanche, scattering all over the floor one by one. The assistant knew that his boss had a lover on the side, but when those photos scattered across the living room, he still felt a suffocating tightness in his chest. Lu Shihua was undoubtedly a very good person. He was understanding, generous, and kind. Not only did he care deeply for his boss, but he also loved those around her. He would bring late-night snacks and meals for subordinates like them. But what successful person doesn't fool around with someone new on the side? As long as the original spouse isn't abandoned, it's not that big of a deal. The boss still treated Lu Hua very well, so well that her subordinates were jealous, wishing they were Lu Hua. So he had always helped Shen Qingying hide it from Lu Hua. Now, the matter had clearly been exposed. Shen Qingying clutched a stack of photos. Her fingers were white from the force. She tremblingly flipped through to see the writing on the back. Her mind felt congested, throbbing painfully. Her attitude towards Jiang Nuo had always been just for fun. She never expected he would actually have the guts to provoke Lu Hua. Her expression was terrifyingly dark. At the same time, she felt immense regret. Lu Hua was a man who didn't compromise. In the early stages of her business, he had endured many hardships with her, but that was all built on the foundation that Shen Qingying loved him, and he loved Shen Qingying. He couldn't tolerate a single grain of sand in his eyes. Looking at the dates on the photos, he had known about this for a long time. Shen Qingying recalled Lu Hua's several instances of unusual behavior. She gritted her teeth. She hated it most when people, taking advantage of her favor, pushed their luck. But right now, the most important thing wasn't dealing with Jiang Nuo, but finding Lu Hua. From the looks of it now, the most likely scenario was that he had run away from home. Shen Qingying first made 2 phone calls to Lu Hua's friends in the police station. Then she went to the management office to check the surveillance cameras, but the cameras had been slowed down. Many security staff from the management office said they didn't see anyone who looked like Lu Hua entering or leaving this floor. In other words, he might still be in the building. Shen Qingying decided to go door to door to ask. She had already thought about how she would apologize to Lu Hua. I am very soft-hearted. As long as she sincerely apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again, Lu Hua would forgive her, but the prerequisite was that she had to find me. At the management office, they were also paying close attention to the flow of people at the community gate, but there were still no new discoveries. In these few days, Shen Qingying had faced countless contemptuous looks, but she still apologized while knocking on doors, trying to find Lu Hua. She failed. It was as if Lu Hua had vanished into thin air, unwilling to appear before her again. How could a living person just disappear? Shen Qingying was exhausted. She lay on the soft, fragrant double bed. Her eyes, from several sleepless nights, were filled with red veins. She couldn't sleep. Whenever she closed her eyes, she would think of Lu Hua, the man she had known, accompanied, and loved for decades. Now, I have resolutely left her. The doorbell suddenly rang while she was in a daze. Shen Qingying practically jumped up. Due to her excitement, her hand bones slammed into the edge of the table, but she paid no attention to it at all. She rushed to the front door. Could it be Lu Hua? Her heart was about to leap out of her chest. She opened the door only to see Jiang Nuo's face. Why didn't you answer my calls? He said aggrievedly. What have you been doing? Do you even love me anymore? He dared to come directly to her home. There was no doubt that he was the one who sent those photos to Lu Hua. Shen Qingying was furious. She grabbed his hand and pulled him into the room, mercilessly throwing the stack of photos in his face. Why did you do this? Jiang Nuo was only stunned for a moment before he burst out laughing. He looked at Shen Qingying with a cold, resentful gaze. Why couldn't I do this? The photos fluttered down like snowflakes. Each one exuded extreme intimacy. On them was the side profile of Shen Qingying gently kissing his lips. Jiang Nuo looked at the furious Shen Qingying as if in a dream. Shen Qingying, don't you forget? You were the one who flirted with me first. This heart-stealing woman, on what grounds can you criticize me for doing this? Who is the one who shouldn't have done it in this world? Besides me, Jiang Nuo, the third party, there are thousands, tens of thousands of other third, fourth, and fifth parties. If you were capable enough, would you have even noticed me? Would you have hired me into your company to be your lover who can't see the light of day? Do you think I would have given you a second glance? Slap? A crisp sound. Jiang Nuo's head was knocked to the side by the slap. The black hair by his temple hit his cheek, red from the argument and the pain. He didn't move for a long time. Go ahead, beat me to death. It won't change the fact that you cheated. Shen Qingying. This sentence stabbed right into Shen Qingying's heart. Her breathing became heavier. She looked at Jiang Nuo angrily. She was afraid this man would say even more, because she knew he was right. Lu Hua found out she was cheating, so he left. All the sweet memories with Jiang Nuo now became a gut-wrenching pain. A dull knife was crudely scraping away the rotten flesh, revealing her barren and fearful inner self. She flung her hand fiercely, pointing to the door. She glared and yelled at him. Get out of my house! Jiang Nuo laughed. He no longer had his considerate and gentle appearance. His messy hair and swollen cheek made him look more like a madman. Shen Qingying, are you dreaming? You even have to pay for a gigolo. As you plan on sleeping with me for so long for free? What do you want? Shen Qingying was so angry her chest was heaving. You want to threaten me? She even wanted to strangle the man in front of her, but she quickly realized the consequences of doing so. Jiang Nuo seemed to see it too, the killing intent that flashed in her eyes. He took a small step back. He looked up and said, give me 5 million. Damn it, you're really pushing your luck. Shen Qingying, you're the boss of a listed company. You can't even spare 5 million, and you expect to live happily? I'll give you one last week. Transfer the money to me quickly. Otherwise, I'll send this to Lu Hua. He casually tossed down a medical report. It clearly stated that the female party was 6 weeks pregnant. The last time Jiang Nuo tricked her into getting a checkup, it turned out it was just to confirm whether Shen Qingying was pregnant with his child. She didn't even have a child with Lu Hua. If Lu Hua saw this, there would truly be no chance of reconciliation. Beads of cold sweat formed on Shen Qingying's forehead. She had clearly taken the pill every time. She looked at the man's slightly smug face. A cold glint flashed in her eyes. The third week of searching for Lu Hua still yielded nothing. After Shen Qingying returned home from her abortion, she felt a belated sense of fear. The faint scent remaining on the bedding had long since disappeared. But she received a call from the landline in her house. The other party claimed to be a moving company, saying that while they were disposing of the belongings, they had found a small ring box. It looked quite valuable. They were wondering if she still needed it. Shen Qingying reacted immediately. It was the wedding ring Lu Hua had left behind. She said she needed it almost without hesitation. The other party was clearly there to ask for money. After adding them as a friend, she transferred 100,000. The other side didn't haggle much. They said directly, "Then come pick it up sometime. Weekends are best." You know the incinerator? The largest waste treatment plant in the area. Shen Qingying naturally knew of it. Her heart ached. She knew Lu Hua must have been deeply hurt to choose to throw everything away. She hurriedly asked, "What about the other things that were moved from here? Please keep them all for me. I'll come get them all at once." Jiang Nuo was extremely unwilling to accept Shen Qingying's invitation. In just a few short days, they had gone from ambiguous lovers to enemies. Meeting again would only be awkward, but Shen Qingying's reason was very valid. "My money is all tied up in fixed assets right now. If a 5 million cash flow transaction occurs in a short period, anyone would be suspicious. I can only give you the cash in installments." He had no choice but to grab his bag and drive out impatiently. Of course, Jiang Nuo didn't know that the industrial park was a garbage dump. The location was sent to him by Shen Qingying. The further he drove, the more remote it seemed. He finally arrived at that filthy and desolate place. Shen Qingying was waiting there. Next to her was a huge black bag. Having not seen her for a few days, she had become more haggard. Her complexion was terrible, and her hair wasn't carefully styled. Completely different from before. "Take it to her car." Jiang Nuo refused to get closer. He said warily, "There's no need for us to get close again." "Is there?" The woman sneered. She took a few steps forward and grabbed Jiang Nuo's wrist tightly. Her strength was immense. Jiang Nuo backed away in fear, but he was still dragged into the industrial park. "What do you want to do? Let me go." His struggles were no match for a Shen Qingying who had lost her mind. The hands that once caressed his body were now like iron shackles, restraining his movements. Jiang Nuo panicked. He heard Shen Qingying whisper, "Do you know? Because of you, Lu Hua has been missing for a long time. Now, come with me to get his things. Let me see you look repentant." She dragged and pulled him. The two of them walked into that huge incinerator. The worker was already waiting for them here. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but be stunned. He laughed and said, "Oh, is the young couple having a fight?" Jiang Nuo shouted, "I am not." His voice was cut off as Shen Qingying covered his mouth and nose. Shen Qingying looked coldly at the worker. "Give me back the ring." The worker nodded awkwardly and handed the small ring box to Shen Qingying. He looked at the struggling Jiang Nuo and couldn't help but say, "You two should leave after you get it. It's not very safe here. The temperature is very high." Shen Qingying nodded non-committally. She put the ring in her pocket and then dragged Jiang Nuo away again. The worker watched their retreating backs, feeling a sense of dread. But one of them had offered hundreds of thousands. Their way of handling things was not something he could comprehend. So he had to keep his mouth shut, eyes on his nose on his heart. Just as he had said, the temperature of the incinerator's flame was extremely high. Jiang Nuo was choked by the heat wave, his eyes streaming with tears. "Let me go." "What are you trying to do?" "Shen Qingying, I am the father of the child in your womb." Shen Qingying looked at him coldly and gave him a push. Jiang Nuo tripped on some trash and stumbled. "I don't want your money anymore. Just let me go." "Jiang Nuo, you still don't realize where you went wrong. I treated you so well. You absolutely should not have provoked Lu Hua. He's disappeared. Where did he go? Is he dead? I don't know. I've searched every possible place on Earth for him. Why don't you go to the underworld and check for me?" The killing intent in her words was undisguised. Hearing this, Jiang Nuo's voice became shrill. "Don't tell me you didn't do anything wrong. Weren't you the one who initiated the affair? What's with this act of deep love now?" He charged forward and wrestled with Shen Qingying again. Caught off guard, the ring rolled out of Shen Qingying's hand and fell straight towards the incinerator. Shen Qingying's pupils contracted. She pushed him away with all her might. She subconsciously lunged forward. The searing heat wave instantly engulfed her body, but Shen Qingying paid it no mind. She reached out and grabbed the ring tightly. She even heard a blood-curdling scream, knowing it was Jiang Nuo's voice, but the scorching flames were about to consume her. Yet, she felt no fear. This world without Lu Hua was meaningless. When she came here today, she was already prepared to fight Jiang Nuo to the death. It's just that fate had other plans. She couldn't take him down with her. She calmly awaited death, but the wedding ring in her hand glowed faintly. A voice suddenly appeared in her mind. "Lu Hua, male, age 26, strategy mission completed, has now returned to original world to receive reward. System item recovery, wedding ring." Shen Qingying felt the ring in her palm suddenly disappear. She didn't know where that voice came from, but she understood. It was the one who took the ring. She screamed in panic, "Give it back to me." She could just die like this, but she couldn't lose that wedding ring. Shen Qingying suddenly remembered that not long ago, Lu Hua had told her himself that the wedding ring had been thrown away. She even suspected that everything now was just her own chaotic dream. When she woke up, she would find him sleeping peacefully beside her. but the imminent burning sensation told her this wasn't fake. The voice seemed very surprised. It paused for a moment, then said, "Target's regret value has reached its peak. Can assist in activating the counter-strategy program. Do you wish to bind with the system? What is a counter-strategy?" Host Lu Hua is the strategist. He has now completed the objective. Returning to the real world, you are the target of the strategy. You do not have the right to equivalent treatment, but there is a counter-strategy program for you to choose from. You can transmigrate back to the host's side to carry out the strategy. There is no reward for success. Failure will result in erasure. Shen Qingying listened to this conversation in stunned silence. She finally understood why Lu Hua disappeared from the apartment without a trace. Time seemed to stand still as she spoke with the system. The other party used a formal tone, explaining Lu Hua's existence. Hearing that Lu Hua had given up returning to his original world for her, Shen Qingying's eyes turned red. After a long while, she nodded vigorously. "I am the one who wronged him. Now it's my turn to accompany him. I want to bind with the system. Since I am going to die anyway, I'd rather fight for a chance to be forgiven by Lu Hua." Shen Qingying thought. The system made a ding sound. For some reason, Shen Qingying heard from that cold mechanical voice a hint of malicious schadenfreude. "Congratulations on successfully binding. Host Shen Qingying, initiating the counter-strategy program. Please prepare for transmigration. Wishing you a pleasant journey." An intense pain shot through Shen Qingying's body. She opened her mouth, but couldn't let out a single scream, shaking uncontrollably as if an electric current was passing through her. Very quickly, she was tortured into unconsciousness by this excruciating pain. Jiang Nuo knelt dazedly beside the incinerator. He staggered to his feet, knowing that Shen Qingying was surely dead. He hurriedly ran to the main gate. He fell to his knees before that large black bag. So much money. His face was distorted by a smile. "Ah, Shen Qingying, Jiang Nuo muttered. "What goes around comes around." But when Jiang Nuo deposited the money in the bank and reported himself to the police looked at him as if he were a mental patient. "Sir, are you sure you're not mistaken? There are only two people named Shen Qingying in our area. One is over 80 years old, and the other was just born. In this whole world, except for him, no one else remembered the existence of Shen Qingying and Lu Hua. He went to work, only to find an unfamiliar superior. After hearing his frantic questions, all his colleagues burst out laughing. "Isn't the boss of our corporation a man? His surname is Jiang," a colleague said with a laugh. "A Nuo, are you so desperate to climb the ladder that you've gone mad?" Jiang Nuo had indeed gone mad. I quietly returned to my world. I had just opened my eyes when the pot of porridge cooking in the kitchen started sputtering. It was about to boil over. I rushed into the kitchen, and as I passed the bathroom and glanced in the mirror, I froze for a moment. I hadn't seen this face in a long time, young and full of life, like a poplar tree standing tall in the summer night breeze. That was me at 22 years old. Those days of love with Shen Qingying, those days of entanglement, pain, and depth, seemed to be separated by a layer of mist, impossible to see clearly, impossible to feel anymore. Other than the large sum of money that suddenly appeared in my account, my life hadn't changed at all. I finally understood why the system told me that 95% of hosts chose to return to their real lives after completing their missions. It turns out that, compared to this huge sum of money, love is just a passing cloud. I threw myself onto the bed and laughed loudly under the covers. Before, I was a recent graduate, and an orphan at that. Now, in the blink of an eye, I've become one of the richest people in this city. There's nothing happier than this. As for Shen Qingying, I tried to remember her face but couldn't. So, I just stopped thinking about it. To the thing I want to do most right now is to go buy a house of my own. Although the memories were vague, I could still faintly recall the feeling of living at Shen Qingying's house, occasionally feeling like I was freeloading. I was clearly her legal husband, but because I didn't have a job, I often imagined where I would go if I were abandoned. So, I went straight to the real estate center. The agent looked doubtfully at the young man, who looked like a student, and couldn't help but ask, "Where are your parents?" This is the most expensive apartment complex in the city, and also the residential area with the best security and environment. Most importantly, it's very close to my internship company. Although I could choose to live a life of leisure now, never worrying about food and clothing for the rest of my life, I don't plan on quitting this job, because I know when a person doesn't participate in social activities for a long time, they really will become lonely and sensitive. Just like in that other world, I ended up with no friends, like a weak creature, clinging to Shen Qingying, only able to survive by depending on someone else. It seemed like I had no worries in life, but in the end, I was still abandoned. But the house won't be ready to move into for at least another week. I can only endure a few more days in the shared rental room and take the opportunity to pack up my important belongings. My roommate saw me coming back from outside and asked in surprise, "Where were you so late?" My relationship with him is quite good. We're also interns at the same company, so I chuckled and said frankly, "I am moving out soon." Struck it rich? The sarcastic voice of another roommate chimed in. He has a bad temper, and his tone made Lu Hua frown. But I've always had an easygoing personality, so I had to apologize. "I was the one making noise this afternoon. Sorry about that. I won't be living here anymore. The other person's expression softened a little. He snorted coldly and then turned back to his room. The other roommate turned to look at me with admiration. Did you get a full-time offer? Where are you planning to move? I learned from a young age not to show off my wealth. My guard against others is quite high. It's just that he could be considered my only good friend in this city. So I revealed a little about where I was moving. That place is really expensive. I saw online before that the rent there is 8,000 yuan a month. Lu Hua, you've really made it. My roommate's admiration was plain to see, not hidden at all. I also smiled happily. Let me treat you to a meal. You can have whatever you want. After hesitating for a moment, Lu Hua still went to knock on the other roommate's door. Do you want to eat with us? Not going. The other person replied coldly. My roommate and I pouted at the same time, not having the habit of trying to please someone who's giving us the cold shoulder. We turned and left. Without the system, that yellow control panel in my head, I am still not quite used to it. But I know very well that 10 years of feelings can be erased in an instant, let alone a small habit. As long as I stay in my own world for a while longer, I will return to my original self, except for being very rich. After dinner, my roommate also dragged me to a bar. Before, when money was tight, I had never been to places like this. For a moment, I was a little curious. The music was like thunder at maximum volume, reverberating on the dance floor. As soon as I squeezed in, I felt a little dizzy. I uncomfortably pushed through the crowd, and my hand accidentally landed right on a soft waist. The woman smiled at me. Her features were incredibly beautiful. She naturally took my hand, led me out of the crowded mob, and toward the seating area. First time here, the music was too loud. She leaned in close, her low voice making my ear tingle. I touched my reddening ear and smiled, pressing my lips together. Yes, it's my first time here. I am the manager of the bar. The woman led me to a seat and showed me the name tag on her chest. Those almond eyes blinked slightly, like a subtle tease. My name is Su Yan. If you have any problems, just call me. Even the manager is this beautiful? Lu Hua blurted this out dazedly. The other person was clearly amused by me. I could also be a sales promoter, but tonight is your first time here. I don't want to make money off your drinks. Where's your friend? Mesmerized by her beauty, I only then remembered my roommate. I straightened up and looked around, only to see that familiar figure in the middle of the dance floor. Pouting, I said, he abandoned me to go have fun by himself. Then I'll sit with you for a while. Su Yan took the opportunity to sit down next to me, thoughtfully taking a bottle of juice and asking me, this one is non-alcoholic. The price is also very cheap. Do you want to drink it? If you don't drink it, I won't open it. I trusted her very much. Go ahead and open it. It's fine. Opening an expensive one is fine too. Actually, in that other world, my alcohol tolerance was quite good. It's just that this body of mine has never been exposed to alcohol. I didn't dare to be arrogant, so I had to ask her, if I order alcohol, do you get a commission? Su Yan nodded. Yes, but if you don't want to drink, that's fine too. Tonight, I can just be a manager. When she looked up at me, she was incredibly gentle and charming. And the moisture in her eyes reflected the neon lights of the dance floor like sparkling waves. I wasn't short on money, so I tapped lightly on the table and said, then open all the most expensive liquors here. I am not drinking. If you want to drink, go ahead. A flash of surprise passed through Su Yan's eyes. She had a very good eye, realizing that this young man wasn't wearing any brand name clothes from head to toe. She was just worried that he might get into trouble on his first visit, but I acted extremely generous. Worried I can't afford it? Facing her somewhat scrutinizing gaze, I didn't feel offended. I smiled and said, don't you swipe the card first at your bar? Su Yan laughed and said, that's not what I meant. I am just willing to drink with you. She really knows how to sweet-talk people. I rested my cheek on my hand, admiring Su Yan's profile, feeling very moved. It's still better to have money. No wonder Shen Qingying worked overtime every day, supporting one person at home and another one outside. Doesn't that cost a lot of money? If you can drink, then drink it. It's a waste to just leave it here. Su Yan smiled at me and said, thank you. She opened a bottle of brandy, then asked the bartender for a lemon. Her fingers were long and slender, her movements very graceful. The movements of pouring the wine and peeling the rind were decisive, all very pleasing to the eye. I tilted my head to watch her. She passed the glass of wine over and asked, want to try? The alcohol content is quite high. I took a small sip. The strong aroma of the liquor and the sourness of the lemon blended perfectly. Su Yan took the rest and tilted her head back to finish it. Her tilted silhouette was incredibly charming. She must be the top salesperson here. My eyes curved as I looked at her. Just watching the mixology, I feel it's already worth the money. Su Yan smiled. Tonight, when I get back, everyone will probably be dead jealous. Meeting a customer who is both handsome and generous like this, we chatted idly for a while longer. My roommate was dancing energetically on the dance floor. He came over, saw a table full of alcohol, and shouted in astonishment, Lu Hua, you're not being scammed, are you? This is really expensive. I held my forehead and said helplessly, no, if you want to drink, go ahead. Don't drink too much. I can't carry you. My roommate was both surprised and happy, and carried the alcohol away. Su Yan was sitting in a dimly lit place. I didn't notice her existence at all. It's strange to say, it was clearly our first time meeting, but I felt that Su Yan and I got along very well. So when she suggested adding each other as friends, I didn't refuse at all. The alcohol on the table, after being mixed by Su Yan, occasionally found its way into my mouth. Even though this body had never drunk alcohol before, its tolerance was quite impressive, but my face was already flushed. Su Yan saw that I was getting tipsy and thoughtfully said, "Let's call it a night. We can talk for a little longer." After throwing up for the third time in the bathroom, my roommate staggered back. He could barely open his eyes and weakly collapsed onto the sofa. I pouted and gave Su Yan a helpless look. "I can only ask you to help me carry him back." By the time we got home, it was already early morning. I struggled to drag my roommate onto the bed. Just as I took a breath, Su Yan sent a message. "Are you home yet?" "I am here." I laughed and replied, "Thanks for all your help tonight." "No, I should be the one thanking you." Just like that, we exchanged some meaningless conversation, finally ending with wishing each other a good night. I struggled to sit up, preparing to wash my face. I finally understand why so many people like to go drinking. Such a gentle and beautiful woman, even knowing she was there to make money, I couldn't help but be moved. The next day was a work day. After being woken up by the alarm clock, I had the thought of not going to work anymore. Yesterday, I followed Su Yan's method and made a bowl of hangover soup. It was very effective. At least now I don't have a hangover headache. My roommate was a completely different story. He moaned, slinging his arm over my shoulder, his eyes swollen like walnuts. "Who told you to drink so much?" I said, a little amused, but I immediately remembered that I also drank quite a bit and quickly shut my mouth. Feeling a little guilty, my roommate didn't notice this and rambled on. "How could you order so much good alcohol? Did your family get demolition compensation? Or did you win the lottery? I am so jealous. Lu Hua, you should support me." I was speechless. I still have to go to work. Just as I walked out of the residential complex gate, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. My roommate looked at me doubtfully. "If we don't go now, well, be late. You go on ahead." I looked at the figure in the distance, my expression a little cold. "Ask for a day off for me." My roommate followed my gaze. It was a woman of indeterminate age. She was wearing a trench coat. Her figure was very tall, and she looked a bit cold, but her complexion was a little pale. My roommate didn't dare to ask much, but it felt like he had learned some secret. He stammered, Then I'll say you have a stomachache." "A stomachache?" My roommate was already far away. I reluctantly calmed the turmoil in my heart. I originally thought that this face had long been forgotten in the depths of my memory, but I was surprised to find that I couldn't forget. I couldn't forget the betrayals, the long, sleepless nights, but I knew even more that I couldn't show any panic. My voice was faint. "Why are you here?" Shen Qingying clearly hadn't slept well. She was almost 30 years old, but still had a cold, beautiful, and charming appearance. She quickly rushed over and hugged me tightly. "Oh, Hua," Shen Qingying said, choked with emotion. "How could you abandon me without a word?" She still wore that familiar perfume, but just smelling it, Lu Hua would remember those photos, her beautiful face and that man's doting smile. They were wearing nothing, hugging each other intimately. All of this made me feel nauseous in waves. I pushed Shen Qingying a few times, but couldn't push her away. My face immediately froze over like ice. "Shen Qingying, is this my fault? You cheated. Don't touch me." I find it disgusting. I have experienced the mission world, so Shen Qingying's appearance wasn't too hard to accept. But I really don't want to have any relationship with this person anymore. Shen Qingying didn't act tough either, but tagged along behind me. Along the way, I received countless strange looks. I knew that it was impossible to go to work in this situation. "Let's find a place to talk." I took a deep breath and had to compromise. A coffee shop. Shen Qingying's gaze was always fixed on my face. For a moment, she seemed a little nostalgic. This was the Lu Hua in his 20s, the years she had spent with me. Looking so young, like a poplar rising in the spring, and she was almost 30, an unspeakable sense of inferiority made Shen Qingying lower her head slightly. She knew she had wronged Lu Hua. Therefore, she let him judge her with his cold eyes. "What do you want to do?" "Shen Qingying, do you think chasing me here is really meaningful?" Shen Qingying's lips moved, her throat too dry to say any words of justification. She could only reach out her hand to try and take his. As expected, it was snatched away. She lowered her eyes. "Oh, Hua, I know I wronged you. Can you give me a chance to make it up to you? I really love you so much." I really couldn't understand how she could say such words so calmly. I furrowed my brow tightly, feeling a little nauseous. If a person's love can be split into two at the same time and be perfectly disguised, then that is truly too cheap, and I don't need it. "No need." Lu Hua used a napkin to wipe the hand she had touched and said seriously, "Lu Hua, who loved you, is already dead. Shen Qingying, I don't hate you, because in that world, I was also using you. The current Lu Hua is his own person, not living for a mission and not living for anyone. So, please don't bother me anymore. I don't even care if Jiang Nuo and Shen Qingying still have any relationship or not." I stood up, ready to leave. Shen Qingying grabbed my wrist, pleading, "Can you really not give me even a small chance?" "I can't. My feelings from that world are indeed a bit vague, but I still remember the feeling when I first saw the evidence of Shen Qingying's affair, the intense pain in my heart. It's no exaggeration to say I was heartbroken. I shook the woman's hand off, turned to pay the bill, and then left. The latte on the table was still steaming, but I couldn't bear another moment in Shen Qingying's presence. After going outside, I hailed a taxi and wandered aimlessly through the city. When I passed by that unremarkable bar during the day, my eyes lit up. For some reason, I thought of Su Yan. The chat history between the two of us stopped at the last message from last night. During the day, I happened to browse her social media and found out she was a promoter for the bar and usually makes money by coaxing customers to book tables and order drinks. So all that care and gentleness was just to get money out of other people's pockets. But surprisingly, I didn't mind this at all. Besides, I really did receive from her the emotional value that I needed. I don't object to using money in exchange for someone's thoughtful attention. Moreover, Su Yan is really very charming. In the 10 years in that other world, besides the stars on TV, I had never seen anyone more beautiful than Shen Qingying. She has cold eyes. She has the shrewdness of a businesswoman, being friendly without making people dislike her. She's also a rare female CEO in the business world, so it's perfectly normal for men to line up to pursue her. But Su Yan has a completely different appearance from Shen Qingying. Her features aren't as exquisite, but her eyes are extremely beautiful. Thin lips, a high nose, giving her a naturally fragile charm. If you were to compare the two, I just feel that Su Yan would be slightly better. Speak of the devil. I was just wondering if I was free to go to the bar tonight when Su Yan sent me a message. I saw someone on the street just now who looked a lot like you. You're probably still in class at school right now, right? I almost laughed out loud. Su Yan actually thinks I'm still a student. I decided to be mischievous and tease her. It wasn't someone who looked like me, it was me, but I was just skipping class. The teacher didn't take attendance. Are you really a student? Su Yan's tone was a bit helpless. And you ordered so much alcohol yesterday, that was my fault. Next time, the drinks are on me. Of course I didn't take her words seriously. But this suggestion was exactly what I wanted right now. So, I replied bluntly, when is next time? Do you guys probably have this Friday off? Alright. I finally understand what beauty causing trouble means. The corners of my mouth turned up, and I was in a great mood. I'll contact you. Then, my roommate came back after a full day of work and collapsed on the bed exhausted. I casually asked him if he wanted to go, and was immediately met with a pair of sparkling eyes. Yes, of course, actually. I don't understand what's so good about alcohol, nor do I understand why so many people like to dance in bars, but I kinda wanted to see Su Yan. So I followed my own desires. Perhaps because I had something to look forward to, time passed very quickly. Plus, my internship was about to end smoothly, so my mood was great all day. I was patiently waiting for Friday after work, but less than an hour before our meeting time, my superior's familiar voice sounded from outside the office door. This is the workspace for our planning department this year. Let me show you around. For some reason, a bad feeling stirred within me. The next second, the automatic glass door opened. My superior had a radiant smile on his face. He clapped his hands, attracting everyone's attention. Actually, everyone had already perked up their ears to wait for his announcement. I was no exception. I straightened my back and looked at the person following, the department head, unable to restrain the look of disbelief on my face. A lingering ghost. At that moment, only those 4 words appeared in my mind. This is our department's new manager. My superior introduced her with a smile. From now on, our team will follow Manager Shen's lead and become better and better. The applause was quite enthusiastic. It was because of Shen Qingying's beautiful features. She nodded slightly, her gaze landing on me, her tone very gentle. Hello everyone, starting today, we will be colleagues. Today seemed to be a special occasion. The bar wasn't playing the usual ear-splitting music. My roommate was like a social butterfly, flitting between tables. I remained expressionless, stirring the liquid in the glass in my hand. The ice cubes clinked against each other. The sofa beside me sank. Su Yan's leg, through a layer of jeans, precisely and accurately transferred warmth to my knee. Her voice in this ambiguous atmosphere became very magnetic, like a piece of smooth chocolate. Is something on your mind? I sighed and frowned at my roommate's back. I was indeed a little envious of his carefree nature. Having someone I dislike as my direct superior is really annoying. I couldn't be bothered to maintain the amusing lie about being a student anymore. Su Yan didn't mind. She took the glass from my hand and placed a glass covered in a layer of white frost into my palm. Try this. It didn't taste like alcohol at all. The sparkling water fizzed on my tongue, finally dispelling some of my gloom. Lu Hua's brow relaxed a little. This is delicious. Thanks. It's alcoholic though, so you have to pace yourself, Su Yan said with a smile. But tomorrow's a day off, so you can also choose to relax a bit. I'll keep an eye on you. The alcohol content of this drink wasn't low, although I wasn't drunk. After sipping it mouthful by mouthful, my cheeks were flushed. After all, I wasn't really a recent graduate, so as I rested my cheek on my hand and looked at Su Yan, my eyes glittered with a charming flirtatiousness. Who's the really dangerous one, I wonder? Su Yan looked at me for a long time, her red lips pursed. Her fingers gently touched my cheek, wiping away that drop of liquor. We were very close, so close that our breaths mingled, and we could smell the strong scent of alcohol on each other's lips. Her voice was so low, it was almost a whisper. What do you think? I blinked, shifted my gaze to my roommate, and said with a smile, probably him. My roommate drank all the bottles of alcohol I ordered. He was drunkenly playing big talk with the next table, his shouts getting louder and louder. When he lost, he would decisively tilt his head back and down a glass. Su Yan used that meaningful gaze to look at me deeply, remaining silent for a long time before saying softly, "You're really different." I didn't hear clearly and subconsciously asked, "What?" But Su Yan didn't answer. Today, I finally felt a little drunk. I rested my forehead on my hand and rested for a long while. Su Yan poured me a glass of ice water, which helped to suppress the rising drunkenness. I let out a hot breath and pointed at my roommate, saying, "Get him to come back with us. It's very late. The clock has already passed 1 o'clock. It really wasn't early. But I don't know if it was because of the weekend or some other reason. We couldn't get a taxi from the bar, so Su Yan helped me outside. But just as we stepped under a streetlight, a woman's figure approached. I was pulled out of Su Yan's arms by one hand. Who was it? I really felt I was a bit unlucky. Luckily, my roommate was passed out drunk. Otherwise, if he saw this scene, I wouldn't know how to explain it. Shen Qingying appeared out of nowhere, gripping my arm tightly. My body, limp from the alcohol, couldn't break free. As for Su Yan, her expression didn't change at all. She looked at Shen Qingying coldly. "Who are you?" "I am Lu Hua's wife." Shen Qingying scoffed. "Looking at you, you must be a bar promoter, right? You've tricked quite a bit of money out of my husband." Su Yan couldn't even be bothered to reply. Her gaze fell on my face. I shook my head at her. She understood, reached out, and grabbed Shen Qingying's arm, firmly squeezing her hand until she let go. Then she quickly steadied me, and only then said to the furious Shen Qingying, "If he doesn't acknowledge it, then you errant. Don't cause trouble here. I'll call security." Lu Hua pointed at Shen Qingying. "Stay away from me." Shen Qingying was originally very aggressive. She was almost as tall as Su Yan. The two of them were at daggers drawn. The tension was thick. But after Lu Hua said that, she couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. She hesitated for a moment and said to me, "She's not a good person." "Ahua, let me take you home." "If she's not a good person, does that mean you are?" I scoffed. The car I called finally arrived. "Shen Qingying, what on earth do you want?" "I want to make it up to you." "No need. Staying away from me is the best compensation." Su Yan and I stuffed my roommate into the back seat. Just as she was about to leave, I said from inside the car, "You get in too." Su Yan's footsteps faltered, but she still got into the car. Shen Qingying watched the car's taillights disappear into the distance, her heart aching. She thought Lu Hua would wait for her, but she had forgotten that he now had countless options. All the loving words and intimacy of the past had all turned to smoke. Anyone could see Lu Hua's rejection of her. What gave her such confidence? Was it their 7-year age gap? Or was it her ordinary manager position? A woman's success is often inseparable from her career and appearance, but Shen Qingying, thrown into this world, no longer had the same advantages as before. She even felt a little insecure, but at least for now, Lu Hua was still working under her. Shen Qingying thought, at least she could still see him. The taxi stopped at the entrance of the residential complex. Clearly, Su Yan also hadn't expected that I, who ordered tens of thousands of yuan worth of alcohol without batting an eye, would live in a place like this. She was a little surprised. I decided to stop pretending, and chuckled. "I was tricking you before. I've already graduated from university, and I am working now. This is company housing." I don't know if Su Yan believed me. My head was still a bit dizzy. I forced myself to say to Su Yan, "Thank you for today. Let me get a car to take you home." "It's okay, just take a walk." The sound-activated light in the stairwell was dark. Su Yan didn't make a sound to turn on the light. In the darkness, her voice was gentle as she said, "Good night, Lu Hua. Good night." I also replied to her softly. I slept like the dead. The alarm went off 4 times. Before I struggled out of a headache-inducing dream and sat up, I dreamed of Shen Qingying again. Perhaps it's because 10 years wasn't as small of a shadow as I had imagined. Whenever I dreamed, Shen Qingying would more or less appear in my dreams. I was in no mood for lunch. After waking up and brushing my teeth, I threw on a coat as fast as I could and left the house with a frown. The interior designer for my house was, one could say, extremely hard to book. Just because I said I wasn't short on money at the beginning, the real estate agent recommended the best designer in this city to me. But under the agent's glowing praise, I was quite looking forward to meeting her. Besides, those renderings were truly beautiful and fit my requirements for the house. So, even if it meant waiting a few more days, Lu Hua was still willing. We chose to meet at a dessert shop. After all, it was just a simple discussion before the renovation. There was no need for a formal meeting. So when the waiter led me to Su Yan's side, I was still a bit stunned. Did I go to the wrong place? I turned my head to look at the waiter. The other person responded with an awkward smile. "You're not mistaken." Su Yan stood up calmly and took my hand. "Hello, Mr. Lu. I am Su Yan, your designer. Last night, we were happily drinking together, and now she had turned into the designer the agent couldn't stop praising." Lu Hua felt it was a bit surreal. He stared blankly at Su Yan for a long time until she burst out laughing. "How much longer are you going to hold on, my Mr. Lu?" I quickly let go of her hand in embarrassment. The two sat facing each other. Su Yan thoughtfully handed over the rouse menu. "Want some dessert? What would you like to eat?" It wasn't until after we ordered that it dawned on me. I knew it, Su Yan wasn't just a simple bar manager, but I never expected her two identities to be so different. I am so sorry. I didn't expect you to be my client, Su Yan said sincerely. I wasn't deceiving you before either. That bar is run by my friend, so no matter which way you look at it, I am your person. I didn't feel offended, just very surprised. I rubbed my head and said absent-mindedly, You thought what? I thought I could buy her off with money. That's what I thought to myself. But in the end, I didn't say it out loud. I shook my head and said, nothing. The truth proved that, no matter the profession, Su Yan could excel at it. Regarding Lu Hua's house, she had already come up with a basic plan beforehand. As the two of them talked, they quickly sketched out the corresponding decoration ideas. The desserts she ordered were all to my liking, and I unknowingly ate my fill. And I even satisfactorily completed the preliminary plan for the house. I briskly took out my phone. Give me a quote. Su Yan named a number that, even for someone who doesn't understand the field, I knew was very low. I was startled. That doesn't seem right. This price? Have you included the design fee? Does designing a house for a friend also cost that much money? Su Yan's charming peach blossom eyes quietly looked at Lu Hua. Or do we not count as friends? Her words were suggestive. I didn't dare to accept it rashly. I just took that number, added 20,000 on my mobile banking app, and transferred it to Su Yan. Even real brothers have to keep clear accounts, let alone us, who are not related. I don't want to take advantage of this small favor either. Weekend passed rather surreally. On Monday, I had to face that lingering ghost, Shen Qingying. Again, it gave me such a headache that I wanted to resign. But thinking about how hard I worked to become a full-time employee, I was unwilling to give up. To run away because of this small matter is not in my nature. So I decided to stay put at my desk. As long as I pretended not to see, I could ignore the gentle gazes Shen Qingying occasionally threw my way. Actually, I was also very afraid of softening up again. My personality isn't strong. Otherwise, I wouldn't have willingly stayed in that other world for several more years for Shen Qingying. But I understand even better what it means to let go. The more time and affection invested, the higher the sunk costs, the more reluctant I would be to leave the other person. Perhaps Shen Qingying's reluctance now is also just based on these so-called sunk costs. My workspace is near the pantry. One morning, Shen Qingying snuck out to get water I don't know how many times. After slowly getting her water, she would stand there and finish drinking it. It was truly like having thorns on my back. It wasn't just me who was uncomfortable. During the break, the roommate next to me also secretly leaned over and mumbled, Lu Hua, have you noticed that this new manager looks in our direction extremely often? My heart skipped a beat, afraid that my roommate would suddenly find her familiar and recall the confrontation in front of the bar. So, when everyone went to the cafeteria, I carried a stack of documents into Shen Qingying's office. Shen Qingying was waiting for me. She suddenly recalled something from many years ago. Back then, Shen Qingying wasn't yet the CEO Shen everyone talked about. The first time she got her own office, her position was still very low. No one expected that she could climb up the ladder so quickly and become a young, talented CEO. Only Lu Hua, from school uniform to wedding dress, from when she was just a lowly employee to a very successful young businesswoman in others' eyes. 10 years had turned a boy into a man. The years gradually made me more composed and stylish. I never once complained about Shen Qingying coming home late. Only she knew it was because Lu Hua was truly very good to her. But the Lu Hua of this moment, his cold gaze pierced through the tangled past and landed in her eyes. It even made her teeth chatter. Shen Qingying licked her dry lips and took a step forward, wanting to explain something. But Lu Hua directly threw the empty file folder onto the desk, his voice cold. I have no right to interfere with what you do, so I can't control you working here. But Shen Qingying, you better not interfere with me. Either, I will resign. Don't! Shen Qingying said hastily. Awa, I am sorry. I won't bother you anymore. Don't go, okay? I turned and left. After such a warning, my mood improved a little. Shen Qingying would surely stop playing tricks in order to keep me here. Actually, I don't understand what Shen Qingying is thinking, including how someone who could divide her heart between two people in her past life could now come here and pretend to be deeply in love. My world now only has simple joy. I don't need to struggle in that painful love anymore. It's meaningless. The first week of my official job was very busy. Occasionally on the phone, I exchanged design ideas with Su Yan, but we still hadn't had the free time to meet. When we finally both had free time, we immediately and tacitly invited each other out to eat. Even though these things could also be discussed over the phone, I felt that I kind of wanted to see Su Yan, perhaps because she could always break free from boring rules and limitations. Not only that, Su Yan's bar persona was also very successfully crafted, enough to attract someone to find out who she really is. Very free, very romantic, very interesting. A person like that, to me, was uncharted territory. Let's not go drinking today. Su Yan said, I'll take you for a ride on my motorcycle. I want to go. She didn't even make an excuse about work, like a fairy standing by a stream, holding her hand out to me. I couldn't resist taking it, and replied decisively, let's go. I started looking forward to the end of the workday, but the company email on the computer made a ding sound. This meant a public email had been received. I didn't know if it was a new work assignment or some announcement. I sighed quietly, not even wanting to open it, but my roommate's face next to me turned a little pale. He patted my shoulder and pointed at the computer. Lu Hua, quick! Look. I leaned in doubtfully, and my eyes immediately widened. I couldn't believe it, looking at the photos in that public email. I immediately opened the email I received. My throat felt choked up, and I was speechless. My face instantly turned pale. Exposing your company's kept intern, who bought a house downtown at a young age, finds bar promoters to drink with, and is ambiguously involved with your new boss. Every attached photo was of me and Su Yan standing very close at the bar, entering Shen Qingying's office at the real estate center, and although they were very blurry, and there wasn't even any actual proof, this sensational title combined with the photos, it made everyone look at me with a hint of scrutiny. My internship period was indeed very short, but that was also the result of my hard work. Drinking with Su Yan was also nothing to speak of. First, I don't have a girlfriend, and second, I am not seeing anyone who can stop me from pursuing someone I have feelings for. I looked back with a cold face, fearlessly meeting my colleagues' gazes. After all, we're all adults, so no one confronted me directly. It's just for a moment. This whispering and gossiping can't be stopped. My roommate looked at me worriedly. Lu Hua, are you okay? At this moment, my mind was a mess. I tried to smile at him. I really don't understand. Who would do such a thing to slander you? Just focus on your work. Just then, the department head appeared. He knocked on the glass door. His expression was a bit serious. Lu Hua, come out here. After talking for a while, I found out. It turns out the entire company received this email. The sender is completely untraceable. They could only rush the management department to handle it. The department head had personally approved my official contract, so he knew the credibility of that email was very low, but he still asked for confirmation. Everything in it is false, right? Lu Hua took a light breath. He said aggrievedly, no, drinking at the bar is true. The house is also true. I glossed over the important details. I didn't mention the money. After all, I still believe that one shouldn't show off their wealth. The department head looked helpless. This is your personal hobby. We can't control that. As long as the other things are false, it's fine. Who go back to work. It's nothing serious. We will try to investigate. I could only nod and go back. Although the email had been recalled, but in the office, there were still many people secretly looking at me. This work shift felt like sitting on pins and needles. I kept thinking to myself, who did I get in the way of? The person who sent this email must really hate me. I work very hard because I like my current job. Having a career to strive for is a wonderful thing. But now this has happened. It was destined that I couldn't be at peace and continue working with peace of mind. I decisively made a phone call. The other side quickly picked up. Dear Mr. Lu, Su Yan said with a laugh. It's not quitting time yet, is it? Not yet, but I want to skip work. I said matter-of-factly, come pick me up. All my colleagues perked up their ears to listen, and I didn't deliberately lower my voice. This time, it almost confirmed that I was being kept by someone. Immediately, as everyone looked at each other, I let out a cold laugh. I started packing up the things on my desk. Suddenly, a figure blocked my view. I looked up. I saw Shen Qingying looking at me with some anxiety. Where are you going? Are you planning to quit? Why should I quit? I said, puzzled. Wouldn't that be giving the person who slandered me what they want? I stood up openly. Director Shen, please move aside. Lu Hua. I heard the ding-dong notification from the phone in my pocket. I knew Su Yan had arrived. For the first time, I acted on a whim and chose to leave early, running out of the elevator. I immediately saw Su Yan sitting on a motorcycle at the main gate. Her legs were very long. Her motorcycle boots looked very cool. The tips of her boots rested on the ground. Her handsome appearance made people turn their heads. I took the helmet she handed me. Su Yan helped me fasten the strap under my chin. Her movement paused for a moment. Someone upstairs is watching you. I turned my head abruptly. Sure enough, at the corridor railing, were the figures of a few colleagues I didn't know well. Speechless, I gave them a thumbs down. Don't pay attention to them. A bunch of idle people. But I was quickly distracted. Your bike is so cool. If you like it, I'll ride it here again next time. Do you need a license for this? Yes, AD license. It's very simple. This sentence made Su Yan laugh. Her chest vibrated slightly. I got on the bike. I gently wrapped my arms around her slender waist. The motorcycle roared to life and left the company gate. For some reason, this scene felt a bit like an escape. No matter how cool a motorcycle is, it's still subject to speed limits. It took half an hour of riding to reach the destination. When I got off, I was a little surprised. This place was already on the outskirts of the city. Perhaps it's because my first 20-something years were too hard. I never realized that in this concrete jungle, there could still be a real forest. Su Yan tilted her head slightly. Her gaze fell on my gaping mouth. She said with a smile, "Do you like it?" I was speechless. I could only nod repeatedly. There are even more interesting things ahead. After saying this, Su Yan took my hand. This place is indeed beautiful, but it is a bit remote. Did you know, this place used to be called the Forest of No Return? I was stunned again. Then I heard her continue, because the trees are too dense. Many compasses here, due to magnetic field issues, end up being unable to distinguish directions. So many people, after walking for a while, get lost in this forest. Eventually, they disappeared. I got goosebumps listening to her. I quietly tightened my grip on Su Yan's hand, only to find her trembling slightly. I looked up and found Su Yan holding back her laughter. No matter how slow I was, I realized Su Yan was teasing me. Speechless, I gave her a glare. I sadly realized I wasn't angry at all. This is the harm of beauty. I could faintly hear people's voices. Sure enough, in the middle of the forest was a clearing. Several groups of men and women were sitting on the ground around a campfire, chatting. "Oh, Su Yan," a woman called out enthusiastically. "The great designer. How do you have time to come here?" Su Yan just nodded. She didn't reply to her. That person wasn't surprised at all. It's just that her gaze fell on Lu Hua, whose hand was held tightly by Su Yan, being stared at by others. I suddenly pulled my hand back, but Su Yan decisively took the initiative to wrap an arm around my waist. She walked over and sat down next to a woman. She introduced. "This is Shen Yan, the one who owns the bar." "What do you mean, owns the bar?" Shen Yan's expression immediately darkened. Then she turned to me with a grin. Hello. I am the owner of the camping club, not just a bar. Owner, listening to Su Yan. "You've been to our bar before. Come find me next time, and it'll give you a 50% discount." "Hello. I am Lu Hua." Everyone is so enthusiastic. I find it a bit endearing. "Okay. Let's drink together next time." Su Yan raised an eyebrow. "Who wants to drink with her?" "She's out after 3 glasses, even worse than you." A bar owner who can't drink. I found it even funnier. I laughed out loud. Su Yan said, "Don't mind them. Just stick with me. They're all a bunch of old foxes." Hey, little brother, don't fall for her tricks. Everyone here knows. Su Yan is the one with the most romantic debts. Shen Yan pouted. She handed Lu Hua a skewer of grilled meat. "I only love one person. If you have needs, you can come to me." The back of her neck was immediately slapped by Su Yan. I knew they were just joking around because they had a good relationship. I pressed my lips together, trying not to laugh. I secretly asked Su Yan, "What's tonight for? A gathering? It looks very lively." Su Yan is very popular, but she's truly a distinguished guest here. Lu Hua could see that. She rarely takes the initiative to join gatherings like this. Meteor shower. After Su Yan arrived, she inexplicably became quiet, but as long as I spoke to her, she would answer very seriously. "I wanted to bring you to see it, so I came." For a moment, I was stunned. The campfire light reflected in Su Yan's dark eyes, shining brightly. After a long while, she smiled. "Nancy said it's not certain there will be one. Do you blame me?" I shook my head. A very gentle feeling arose in my heart. Su Yan was like a child, wanting to show me all the interesting things she finds. This made Lu Hua feel valued. Su Yan is not short of money. The bar's marketing gimmicks are also unreasonable. So why is she so good to me? The answer that was about to pop out made my heart beat faster and faster. But I still remember in my previous relationship, the painful fall I took. The mess at the company is still waiting for me to handle. And yet here I am, as if running away, coming to see a meteor shower that might not even exist. It's very absurd, but also very interesting. My phone kept vibrating. I guessed it was Shen Qingying, or a message from the department head. I didn't want to pay attention. I directly silenced it, and then turned it off. Su Yan was holding a can of fruit juice with almost no alcohol, smiling at me. "Why not drink alcohol? I have to ride back later. It's not safe. But I don't need to drive." With everyone's encouragement, I drank a little alcohol. A blush appeared on my face. "It seems there won't be a meteor shower. What should we do now?" I drunkenly looked up at the sky. My voice was a bit hazy. Su Yan sat beside me. Her voice was low, like a hypnotist. "Then you can make a wish to me." These words were truly heart-stirring, but I pretended to be foolish. I rested my chin on my hand and giggled at Su Yan. "Then I wish that I had never experienced those 10 years. I spoke unclearly, because there was no way to be frank with Su Yan. The instinctive pain was deeply carved in my memory. Only I knew for sure. The 10 years with Shen Qingying, he were definitely not as easy to forget as I made it seem. I have lost the ability to trust and love. But Su Yan didn't mention it at all. She didn't press, nor did she probe. She just took my warm hand, our palms intertwined. "I heard your wish. I will grant it for you." Regardless of whether she was telling the truth or not, I felt that this was enough. The best viewing time on the forecast has passed. The sparkling stars in the UAR sky still had no intention of falling, but no one felt any regret. After packing up our backpacks and extinguishing the fire, group by group, people prepared to leave. Shen Yan exchanged phone numbers with me, saying I could come again next time. She would drive to pick me up herself. Before I could say anything, Su Yan raised an eyebrow. She scoffed. "Are you trying to guard your food?" Shen Yan laughed and cursed. "Su Yan, are you a dog?" The motorcycle was once again riding on the deserted road. Su Yan was worried that since I had been drinking, I might move around erratically. She repeatedly told me to hold her waist tightly. I giggled and agreed. My hands obediently held on tight. "Your waist is so small." I was as astonished as if I had discovered a new continent. Slender waist, long legs, a fatal blade. These were words that, when sober, I would absolutely never say out loud. Su Yan couldn't help but laugh. "Thanks, but your waist is very thick." I looked up and said nothing, staring blankly at the sky. "Su Yan, look, is that a shooting star?" Su Yan stopped the bike on the side of the road. She also looked up. Fate is just that coincidental. When we were watching intently, we couldn't even catch a trace of a shooting star. But on the way back, on a highway devoid of any romance, we were forced to watch a brilliant meteor shower. Then let's make a wish. No matter how happy the weekend was, I still had to face the mess left by the company. I knew that if I went home, my roommate would also look at me strangely. So I decisively rented a hotel room for a short time. I could vaguely guess who the person who sent the email to the company was. The trouble was, I had no proof. I could only suppress the suspicion in my heart for now. I still went to work as usual. As soon as I arrived at the company, the colleagues who were chatting immediately fell silent in unison. Then came several scrutinizing glances, sweeping over me. My roommate hurried out from the crowd. Ahua, where have you been the last 2 days? I went to rent a room. I smiled at him. Satisfied with what you heard? My roommate said awkwardly. Why are you talking so loud? I didn't answer. I have no interest in starting trouble, but I am not afraid of it either. If it really can't be resolved peacefully, then I'll just make a scene and resign. I continued to work normally, but I suddenly realized something was missing. The room at the end of the office hadn't opened or closed all morning. Shen Qingying didn't come in. Is Shen Qingying someone who gives up easily? She and I were together for 10 years. Of course, I know what kind of person she is. Impossible. Shen Qingying was indeed not at the day's company. That email had caused a big enough impact on me, and it was not small for her either. So she took a temporary leave to avoid suspicion. In this world, her identity is very useful. A young, talented single woman parachuted into a leadership position in the company. She had just taken office at Lu Hua's company, and during her days of getting familiar with the environment, several young men had already expressed their interest in her. Someone as fresh as Jiang Mo. In her heart, he wasn't even a fraction of Lu Hua, let alone other people. This house, she spent almost 2/3 of the savings in her account, just to recreate the home she and Lu Hua had in their previous life. But she never expected that Lu Hua wouldn't give her any chance at all. The system had reminded her, this mission is very difficult. But when she remembered how deeply Lu Hua once loved her, she still risked it to try. Once, Shen Qingying recalled when she was still in her own world. She and Lu Hua went from school uniforms to marriage. At that time, her intention to make a lot of money was simply hoping to give Lu Hua a better home environment. But in the end, she not only broke her promise to Lu Hua, but also broke the promise to her younger self. One wrong step led to 1,000 miles astray. Shen Qingying buried her face in the bed and cried out in pain. Her tears of regret completely soaked the mattress. There will never be another Lu Hua as good as him. Waiting for her again, the doorbell rang. Shen Qingying miserably wiped away her tears. She looked at her haggard self in the mirror and couldn't help but give a bitter smile. How shameful. Why is it you? Stunned, she looked at the person outside the door and subconsciously took a step back, wanting to quickly close the door. But Su Yan had already stuck a foot in the doorway. She said leisurely, let's talk. What is there to talk about? Shen Qingying said with a cold laugh. Aren't you just a prostitute? I don't think you can really be with Lu Hua. He's just chasing novelty for a moment. Su Yan's expression was indifferent. She didn't show any anger. She just took a step forward and pushed into the room. That's not for you to decide. All day, I felt like someone was watching me. Lu Hua was incredibly annoyed. I don't understand why these people would believe such baseless rumors, believing them wholeheartedly. I decisively packed my things and stood up. Today's tasks were basically completed. There was no need to waste time here. Lu Hua had just taken the first step from his desk when a panting Shen Qingying appeared at the door. Her expression was very ugly. The two of them were the center of the gossip. They immediately attracted everyone's attention. Lu Hua looked at her with a cold face. Is there something, Director Shen? Shen Qingying didn't feel at all that what she was doing was inappropriate. She even reached out and grabbed my wrist. She whispered urgently, come with me. Let me take you away, okay? We won't work here anymore. I don't know what she's going crazy about. The corner of my mouth twitched as I pulled my wrist from her grasp. Just an action like that. I don't know how many colleagues were gloating, waiting to celebrate. Director Shen, what do you want? Why are you holding my hand? Do we have some kind of relationship? I spoke very decisively. The light in Shen Qingying's eyes gradually dimmed. She lowered her eyes and said awkwardly, I am sorry. I was too hasty. Is it convenient for you to step outside? I have something to tell you. I saw that her expression didn't seem like she was pretending, so I had no choice but to follow her out. Ahua. As soon as they got to the corridor, Shen Qingying hurriedly grabbed my shoulders. Believe me, absolutely do not be with Su Yan. What does this have to do with Su Yan? Su Yan is also a mission doer. The woman looked at me deeply. You are just her mission target. Her love for you is all fake. I was stunned. Reason told me that someone like Shen Qingying could make anything up, but emotionally, I couldn't help but recall every little thing that happened between Su Yan and me. So those coincidental meetings, that sweetness, was it all deliberately created by someone else? Just like me at the very beginning. But no matter what Su Yan is like, I won't forgive Shen Qingying because of it. So I just pushed the woman away, took her hand, and shook my head, saying, what you said, whether it's true or false, I don't know. I will go verify it with her. Myself. But why should I go with you? Shen Qingying, should I give you a second chance to hurt me? Awa. I really know I was wrong. Shen Qingying said hurriedly, you are still so young. Can you give me another chance? I really miss you so much. What does my being young have to do with you? Lu Hua found her truly incomprehensible. Wasn't I young enough when I met you in that world? Wasn't all my time wasted on you? If I had known, right after completing the mission, I should have come back. Lu Hua took a deep breath and calmed down. He said to the red-eyed Shen Qingying, even one more second is my loss. I call that love a waste of time. Shen Qingying watched my departing back. A deep sense of powerlessness welled up in her heart. Perhaps she would never get Lu Hua's forgiveness in this lifetime. And here, someone like her with no relatives or friends will die alone. This is the punishment for her betrayal. I still submitted my resignation. The department head looked at me. He didn't seem to need to ask for a reason. He just said with some heartache, how you've grown. I've seen it all. I don't know who was trying to harm you. Hua. If you can weather this storm, I still hope you can continue to work here. The department head has always been very good to me, so I am also very grateful. But I still shook my head and said, thank you for your care over this time, boss. I am upright and honorable. I stand straight. Things I haven't done, but it has already seriously affected my daily life, so I won't cling to it any longer. I wish you a bright future. Take care. A 3-month internship, officially employed for less than a month. I let out a bitter laugh. It seems I'll have to extend my hotel room booking. I still need to go back to pack my things. After all, it's a house rented by the company. Overstaying would make things difficult for others, but I am really too tired today. Confronting Shen Qingying has almost drained all my mental energy. Instead of saying the nonsense at the company upset me, it's better to say that Shen Qingying's frequent appearances have deepened the defenses in my heart. Seeing her is a form of torture. I lay on the large hotel bed, my thoughts wandering. My phone vibrated slightly. It was Su Yan. I remembered Shen Qingying's words again. I had a feeling that Su Yan was making this call because of this matter, but for some reason, I didn't want to answer. If Su Yan doesn't admit it, a seed of doubt has already been planted in my heart. If Su Yan admits it, then those beautiful memories will burst like soap bubbles, illusory, tainted with the scent of personal gain. How ridiculous. Lu Hua, oh Lu Hua, didn't you once do the same thing? It's just that no one was as foolish as you to pour their entire sincere heart into it. I bluntly blocked the numbers of Su Yan and Shen Qingying. Two people, hiding in the soft covers, groggily fell asleep. I woke up in the warm blankets. I was sweating from my sleep. My whole body ached as if I had just run for miles. My head was getting hot in waves. I had a fever. I ordered a thermometer and fever medicine for delivery. I leaned against the headboard, feeling like I was about to run out of breath. Dazedly, I held my head. After a long while, there was a knock on the door. Perhaps because I trusted the hotel's security too much, or perhaps because I was too tired. I didn't even bother to check who was outside the door, and just opened it directly. I was pulled into a tight hug by a woman. The person hugged me very tightly and whispered, I am here for you. I quickly realized who it was. I tried to break free from her, but she didn't let me resist, using an irresistible force to pull me back to the bed, scolding, you're sick and not even wearing shoes. My eyes stung a little, and I choked out, what are you doing? Being so good to me like this? What is your purpose? Su Yan's action of pouring water paused. Don't you know everything already? That's right. For the mission, to survive, I, Lu Hua, have actually become a target to be conquered one day. Such meticulous care and such agreeable actions were all fake. It was all to break down my defenses. The fever made me a little weak. The corners of my eyes were wet and red. Su Yan boiled some water, knelt down, held my hand, and said, if you're angry, you can hit me. But Lu Hua, I have to tell you, only when I first approached you did I have another motive. Afterwards, everything was based on a sincere heart. My mind was in a mess. I know that falling in love with a mission target because of the mission is a very common thing. I've experienced it myself, so why can't I believe Su Yan? The main culprit is probably still Shen Qingying, but Su Yan looked very serious, as if she were proposing or taking an oath at a wedding, expressing her heart to me. Lu Hua. Her lips touched the back of my hand, carrying a slight coolness. Don't resist me. My face was a little red. I turned my head away and pulled my hand back. Let me be alone for a while. Don't push me. Su Yan obediently stood up, 1.70 meters tall, but she looked very docile. She prepared the medicine for me, took a piece of candy and brought it to my mouth, coaxing me like a child. After I took the medicine, my head didn't hurt as much. I looked at Su Yan. How did you know I was sick? Su Yan knew I was here, because last time she took me here, directly on her motorcycle. But it was hard for me not to suspect that she had a special system, one that could monitor my movements. Su Yan just smiled without answering. I became even more certain of my speculation. I snorted coldly, not wanting to pay her any more attention. Can you unblock me? I want to show you something. She continued reluctantly. Shen Qingying sent it to me. I am not taking her credit. I originally didn't want to pay attention to her, but I was very curious about why she and Shen Qingying would be in contact. I lowered my head and unblocked Su Yan, then asked, why did she send it to you? Because you've already blocked her. She thought you at least wouldn't block me. My phone received the pictures Su Yan sent. Each and every page was a screenshot from a computer. The background was very clear. I recognized it at a glance. It was the company's house. I really didn't Guess wrong. The person who always claimed to be a good roommate, a good friend, ended up stabbing me in the back. At first I thought it was the other roommate, the one who was always annoyed with me, who did it. But he and I weren't in the same department at all. There was no conflict of interest. On the contrary, this close roommate, we were interns from the same batch. I was hired permanently, while he wasn't, so jealousy grew in his heart. I sighed heavily. This was an outcome I didn't want to see. Where did these pictures come from? I scrolled through the previously deleted emails again and again, and suddenly thought of something. Shouldn't my roommate be at work? Yes, your other roommate took them. Shen Qingying went to talk to him. As for what specific conditions were agreed upon, I am not sure. I didn't expect Shen Qingying to go this far for me. I bit my lip. My expression wasn't very good. Su Yan immediately said, "You're not going to, because of this, soften your heart towards her, are you? Just how much do you know about us?" When this was mentioned, Su Yan fell silent again. My anger flared up. I said coldly, "If you won't answer, then get out. I have no interest in communicating with a liar." Su Yan was clearly in a difficult position. She opened her mouth, and the next second her body suddenly trembled. She fell to the floor, convulsing uncontrollably. Her face looked terrible. Lu Hua was startled and reached out to help her up, but Su Yan rolled away. She seemed to have just endured extreme pain in a short time, panting heavily, and said with a bitter smile, "Don't touch me. I am electric." Lu Hua understood immediately, feeling a bit guilty. The system doesn't allow strategists to reveal things related to the program. They will be stopped by an electric current. Many years ago, I almost blurted it out too, and ended up being shocked by the current until I was half dead. Su Yan recovered after a while. She sat on the floor and looked up at me. "I am sorry I can't tell you. I am sorry for deceiving you at the beginning." Even though she couldn't say it, her eyes conveyed this meaning. I lowered my head and stroked her head. "Does it hurt?" Su Yan smiled. "It doesn't hurt. Actually, I don't have such a strong desire to find out. If you can't say it, then don't. I won't force you. What I want is very simple. A sincere heart is enough. But I don't know if what Su Yan is giving me is real or not. In any case, I still have to go home and pack my things. My cold symptoms weren't too serious. I chose a weekday to go home. Surprisingly, my roommate was also packing his things. The two of us met face to face. I was stunned. "You're really ruthless," the roommate said coldly. I was fired too. "Are you happy? Today, I finally witnessed what it means to play the victim." "You still have the nerve to say that? When you slandered me, didn't you think about the consequences? I didn't treat you badly, did I? For you to do such a heartless thing, isn't getting fired perfectly normal?" The roommate's expression carried a hint of resentment. He stared at me. "Didn't you suddenly come into money? Why don't you admit it? If you weren't being kept, then why would Shen Qingying treat you so well?" In front of the entire company, she pointed at my nose and scolded me, telling me to get lost. "Lu Hua, isn't this because you were whispering in her ear?" I stared at his agitated face and suddenly burst out laughing. It turns out he really thought that way, thinking that I was someone who, for money, would abandon all dignity. That's why he wrote an email like that. Shen Qingying has also resigned. "Errant, you two planning to elope?" The roommate finished packing his last item, raised his hand and threw a box at me, saying coldly, "Goodbye forever. Go live your wonderful life." That was the gift I gave him when he first moved in. A wave of unreasonable anger rose in my heart. I stepped forward quickly and grabbed his hair with one hand. I was so angry my hands were shaking. It was the pain of being betrayed and misunderstood by a friend. "I will live a good life." My voice trembled a little, but it has nothing to do with anyone. "What makes you think that?" The air was tense, heavy, full of hostility, until there was a knock on the door. I let go and took a step back. "I never want to see you again. Never." The roommate opened the door, saw the woman outside and gave a cold laugh, pushed her aside and walked away quickly. When I saw Shen Qingying's face, I understood what he was laughing about. I had just said that Shen Qingying and I had no relationship, and she showed up at my door. I guess no one would believe it. "Oh, wah," Shen Qingying said softly. "Are you preparing to move out?" "I have already resigned from the company." My voice was completely flat as I took my documents out of the cabinet. "About that matter, thank you." Shen Qingying's eyes darkened. Of course, she didn't intend to take credit, but it was clear that Lu Hua was not grateful at all. Everything she did was of her own making. Lu Hua really didn't need to be pleasant to her. The system in her head displayed a countdown timer. It was equivalent to the final moments of her life. Shen Qingying said with a gloomy expression, "I came to say goodbye to you." She unilaterally pursued Lu Hua, and coming here, she had to bear the consequences of her choice. After saying this, she mumbled a lot of things that I didn't understand. I even rested my chin on my hand and said boredly that it would be good if she really never saw me again. Then, I could finally escape from that mess and not want to look back anymore. Su Yan knew Shen Qingying would die, but she didn't want to tell Lu Hua. That was her own selfish thought. Her strategy mission was not to get Lu Hua or anything else. Only one thing was clearly displayed on the control panel. What Su Yan had to do was make Lu Hua happy. This concept of happiness is very broad. At first, Su Yan thought it was to make Lu Hua accept her love and then give him the utmost care and affection. But gradually, she discovered that Lu Hua was so good, she couldn't bear to use her deceit, to trick him out of his true happiness, and she didn't want to because of the mission's goal, so she didn't want to force Lu Hua. She wanted to genuinely treat him well. Now that you've resigned, you must feel relieved. Want to go somewhere? Su Yan asked. Should I take this opportunity to go out for a trip? From the very beginning, the system had shown Su Yan all the documents about Lu Hao. She knew the first 20 years of Lu Hua's life were not good. He lost both his parents, but he still persevered, using his own abilities to get into a very good school and get a very good job opportunity. He was accidentally drawn into the system, seriously completed his mission, and fell in love with a woman who had gone through thick and thin with him. During the observation process, Su Yan had witnessed 30 years of Lu Hua's life. When Lu Hua was in love with someone else, she had also been moved by Lu Hua. This is probably a kind of emotional transference, Su Yan thought. I hesitated for a long time, standing in front of the hotel's map, looking at the vast, wide world. Su Yan stood beside me. You can go here. She pointed to the bottom right corner of the map. This country has many unexplored forests and animals with a long history. It's a very independent island. You'll like it. Or, here. It's very cold, but very beautiful. There will be auroras and glaciers. I followed her slender finger, and my eyes gradually lit up. Su Yan was like the best tour guide, dedicated and devoted, outlining the places I could go. I was looking forward to it, excited, wanting to welcome my new fate in life. Knowing this is enough, Su Yan thought, this way he's also very happy. Isn't that so? But the next second, I turned my head back, looking at her with sparkling eyes. Come with me, I said without hesitation. I'll be lonely by myself. The world is too big. Those endless deserts and vast lands, to measure them with only my own 2 feet, is too boring. At this moment, I cast aside all distracting thoughts and spoke my truest desire. The system, fine. The mission, fine. If I am your main character in this world, then you have to do whatever I want with me, right? Su Yan looked at me, her palm pressed against my cheek, and whispered, Can I kiss you? The surging emotions in my heart were almost overflowing. My face immediately turned red and hot. After a moment I said, Next time, don't ask me a question like that again. I am at the black sand beach. I buried my face in the raised collar of my windbreaker. My voice was a little muffled, and my tone wasn't happy. When are you coming over? Su Yan glanced at her plane ticket and said with a laugh, Can't be helped. It's your house. I have to pay attention to it. Is supervising the construction work for free? I'll probably only be able to come over when you get to the next country. Don't rely on me too much. Have fun. With a click, I hung up the phone. After we traveled through 4 or 5 countries together, a small problem occurred with the house being renovated back home. Su Yan had to take a red-eye flight, with 2 transfers, to successfully return to the country. She didn't hide the fact that she bought a plane ticket from Lu Hua. In Su Yan's pocket, there was also a ring. Only one. Because this was her unilateral proposal to Lu Hua. Whether Lu Hua agreed or not didn't matter. This ring would be worn on her own hand. This was the proof of marriage she created for him, to make him feel at ease, to know that she would be by his side. Su Yan was in a very good mood, but she quickly received a phone call, and her expression immediately darkened. Okay, I'll be there. After just a short half year of not seeing her, Shen Qingying had become so haggard. She wasn't sick, living in a very small room. She looked very calm. I am about to die. Shen Qingying smiled. You know, I couldn't succeed. Su Yan looked at her, her expression a little emotional. After a moment, she asked, Do you regret it? If you're asking if I regret chasing him to this world, I don't regret it. Shen Qingying said, If you're talking about the affair, I regret it very much. She looked unwillingly at the ring on Su Yan's hand and let out a bitter laugh. Hua and I were once the sweetest couple in the world. If I hadn't made a mistake, there would have been no chance for you. There are no ifs in this world. Su Yan said calmly. Is he happy now? In the end, Su Yan still caught her flight. She didn't answer that question from Shen Qingying. Not until she landed and rushed to my side did I give her a fierce, angry kiss. It didn't hurt. It was like a big dog showing its teeth in anger, baring its fangs. Su Yan burst out laughing. That night we went to see the aurora. The snow reflected the ever-changing colors of the sky. Su Yan's face was red from the cold. Snowflakes rested on her eyelashes, breathtakingly beautiful. Su Yan knelt on one knee. I know you're very scared. Su Yan said seriously. So I am not asking you to promise me anything. Lu Hua, I love you. It has nothing to do with anything else. She took out a diamond ring that only fit her size and put it on, saying, If one day you are willing, I will give you a matching ring. But for now, this can only bind me, not you. My eyes turned red. Tears welled up in my eyes. I kissed her on the lips. Su Yan said gently, Are you happy? The question still needs to be answered by the person himself. Isn't that right? Before she dies, Shen Qingying will always regret losing the boy who loved her the most. But for Su Yan, this was the greatest fortune. Su Yan thought to herself, I really hope the condition for completing this mission is a lifetime,